Cobra Kai is just like The Last Jedi. We'll explore that idea and a whole lot more this morning on Midnight with Cecil and Anna, that Star Wars girl, is our guest. It wouldn't be a morning if I didn't mess everything up on the way in the door. Welcome, everybody, to Midnight's Edge in the morning. It's Wednesday. We're halfway through the week again. I am your co-host, Tom Connors, and with me is my co-host and boss man, Andre. How you doing?
Greetings, everyone. Good morning. I'm good, thank you. How about yourself?
Doing the best I can. Also joining us from the Great White North, which I'm still arguing is northern Minnesota. It's not a country. Script Doctor.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me on.
We're always happy to have you along with us. And our special guest for this morning, we have Cecil. How you doing?
Good morning, everybody. Doing good.
Glad to have you here, even though you're sober, Cecil. And also with us, it almost seems like she's here just to make sure you're funny because you're not so drunk, according to her. So,
Intoxicated.
What was that, Anna?
Intoxicated. He's useless when he's not drunk. So painful.
So to further along that notion, we have Anna, that Star Wars girl, with us this morning as well. How you doing, Anna?
Hello. I'm good.
Yeah, you're the one that gave us a hello. We didn't get a hello from Cecil. Something's off already.
Oh,
He's sober. He's useless when he's sober. I'm telling you.
hello.
That didn't even sound right.
Hello.
That was worse. So we're just going to leave it at that.
Hello, everybody.
I might have to do it for you.
Hello.
There we go. Oh, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. We got some of our regulars here, and I want to thank you for hopping in. Hit that like button if you would, and also share out the stream because Lord knows YouTube wouldn't help us do that. Roger Haynes sends us a super sticker this morning already. Thank you so much. I don't know if we had any more before that, Andre, but we want to thank him for that. Did I lose you? There you are.
No, I'm checking that right now. The first one we got is from, let's see. It's from Roger Haynes, and that's the first we got today.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. And with that, let's get things rolling here. Cecil, what have you been up to besides being sober lately?
I have been actually, well, I don't want to ruin the illusion, working on Cash Grab. We're putting together the fan art this week.
Which this is the last day to get, right?
Yeah, tonight it closes tonight. I don't want to push it because this week because I said if we hit 4,000 backers by tomorrow night, I would take one night off of my month sobriety and host the Jack Show Wasted. And I kind of don't want to break the sobriety thing. So, but I did make that. I didn't think it was possible, but a lot of people just started buying it again. So I hope I don't have to drink tomorrow.
So you all heard the recommendation: go and support and get to more than 4,000. That's the end of the story, there, isn't it?
I have a hard time pushing it right now, but I was working on the fan book. I have in the last couple of years, just mountains of fan art. For some reason, people enjoy doodling and drawing Cecil, and there's just so much to go through.
Even your stories now suck. Like, oh my God, the way you tell your stories, it's not the same. Everyone, please, for my own sake, because I'm gonna have to sit on that stream for 4+ hours and listen to shit like that. Please go back, Cash Grab, and get it over 4,000. Please, and thank you.
Or do it on Friday. That'd be better.
No, do it now.
It's good to have It's good to have somebody in your corner, helping out while you're trying to do something good for yourself.
Yeah, usually it's the other way around, but people are like, Cecil, you need to get sober. No.
You'd be pulling my head back, pouring booze down my throat.
If I lived in New York, I might do that. I might drive to your house and just, inject it into your veins.
God.
Oh my God.
Anna, what have you been up to lately?
Working.
Obviously trying to make Cecil drink.
Yeah, professional enabler, Anna.
Okay, if you guys had to sit on a stream for,
They do.
multiple hours.
They have to sit on this stream right now. They'll know how bad it is.
I know, but here's the thing. There's Tom, Andre, and Script Doctor here, and me. On the Jack show, I mean, your comedy is one of the central aspects of it. You're the C in the Jack show. And when you're not pulling your own weight, it makes all of us have to work harder.
I have never heard somebody pitching, please start drinking again.
That's some high praise right there.
Speaking of people making you want to start drinking, we also have Rob with us this morning. How you doing, Rob?
Come on, Edith, give me a beer here, huh?
Your sobriety is tearing this family apart.
This is the premise for Cash Grab, the sequel, is Cecil goes sober and it's Anna, that Star Wars girl's mission to get him drunk in order to save the world.
Possibly. Yeah.
I love it. Oh God,
Just make sure on the first page you have plastered, this is in no way based on the life of Amber Heard and Johnny Depp.
Oh God.
Oh Lord. Yeah. So, how's everybody doing?
Welcome to the Voice of Midnight's Edge, Rob. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Getting better all the time. Couldn't get much worse.
That's right. I actually got some news for us besides Cobra Kai that just came across the transom, as Rob likes to say. This is less than 10 minutes old. We finally have an official synopsis for the Lord of the Rings series over at Amazon.
I read that last.
That should be good.
I read that last night. Mecca sent that to me.
Well, this just dropped 10 minutes ago on Variety. Here you go, Rob. So you can earn your keep.
Okay, let me pull it up here. Okay, let's see.
I just sent you the link.
Yep, I'm pulling it up. The upcoming Lord of the Rings series at Amazon has unveiled the show's official synopsis. The epic series is described as follows. Amazon Studios' forthcoming series brings to
I thought
screens.
you were going to say stink. Stank. Stunk.
I did not see The Grinch this year for some reason. I did not. Watch it. Yeah, I don't know how I missed The Grinch.
How dare you?
I know.
I even watched half of the Jim Carrey one.
Well, anyway.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, let's get back to Lord of the Rings.
Actually, no, The Grinch is more interesting than this, but I digress. Amazon Studios' forthcoming series brings to screens for the very first time the heroic legends of the fabled Second Age of Middle-earth's history. This epic drama is set thousands of years before the events of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, and will take viewers back to an era which great powers were forged, kingdoms rose to glory, and fell to ruin, and stories can be effed up without anyone noticing because they won't be able to say, did this really happen? Because it's not in any of the books. I'm sorry, that's me interjecting. Unlikely heroes were tested, hope hung by the finest of threads, and the greatest villain that ever flowed from Tolkien's pen threatened to cover all the world in darkness. Beginning in a time of relative peace, this series follows an ensemble cast, both familiar and new, as they confront long-feared reemergence of evil to Middle-earth. From the darkest depths of the Mystic Mountains to the majestic forests of the elf capital Lindon, the breathtaking island kingdom of Numenor, to the furthest reaches of the map, these kingdoms and characters will carve out legacies that live on long after they are gone. The show's official Twitter account had previously sent out an image of the map, along with two messages: one ring to rule them all, one ring to find them, one ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them. In the land of Mordor where shadows lie, as well as welcome to the Second Age. In the Tolkien mythology, the Second Age was the time which the Ring of Power, including Sauron's One Ring, became existence. The Rings of Power, okay, because there were 20 of them. No, 9 rings. No, 9 rings. Sorry, why am I getting 20? Well, anyway, the show has assembled
9
massive
rings of men.
Yeah,
the men got 9 rings.
Then the men got 9 rings. Yes, who were mortal. Yeah. The show has assembled a massive cast. Includes Robert Ariamo, Owain Arthur, Nazanin Bonaidi, Tom Budge, a name I can pronounce, Morford Clark, Ismail Cruz, Cordova, Emma Horvath, Markella Kavanaugh, Joseph Maue, Tyro. Yada. Nobody cares. Okay, more than 20 actors. Lord of the Rings, series written by J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay. In addition to Game of Thrones alum, Brian Cogman has signed on as a consultant producer on the project with J.A. Bayona, set to direct multiple episodes. In addition to previously announced, the show's creative team consists of executive producers Lindsay Weber, Bruce Richmond, Callum Green, Amazon's former head of genre programming, Sharon Tal Yagato, writer, executive producer Jennifer Hutchinson, writer, executive producer Jason Cahill, writer, executive producer Justin Doble, casting Stephanie Folsom, yada, yada, yada. Nobody cares. Yeah, yada, yada, yada. Nobody cares. Okay. You know what? Who here has actually read Lord of the Rings besides me?
Years ago.
Okay, very good. Why am I not excited for this?
Because that's not a synopsis.
Yeah.
That really wasn't.
Yeah. You know what? I just have to chime in right away. You know what this sounds like to me? This sounds like a cover-up. This sounds like, oh, here's something super generic. We're going to talk about the source material. We're not going to go into any kind of specifics about what we intend to do in our adaptation whatsoever, because we know that if we did, hell would be raised. That's my first thought upon hearing this nothing burger.
The reason no one's excited is because everybody's bracing themselves for this platform for them to push whatever agenda it's going to be, trans hobbits and,
barely legal Smeagol because
bracing themselves. They're like, it's, oh, fuck, what are they going to do? What are they going to use this for? So,
Mary Pippin, why are you so full of toxic masculinity? Anyone could carry the.
Well,
the
they want to make it like Game of Thrones, so like I said, we're gonna get barely legal Smeagol. That's. It wasn't Isildur all this time.
I love that. I you know what? I think Cecil might be related to Jake Bentley. What do you think?
This is sober Cecil, motherfucker. Why?
He's stepping up his game. Finally. Channel the drunkenness. I dare you.
Did he take
He's got to have reserves in his liver somewhere that he can access, right?
and also script. I have one question about this before we get on to the main topics, because the thing that kills me the most with this whole entire nothing burger is one of the things that no one cares about, but I care a little bit, and that is the one line that says the Lord of the Rings series is written by J.D. Payne and Pat Kay. Now, the only noteworthy thing that those two has ever written before is the Star Trek 4 that never happened.
Oh, I thought you were going to say their name on a piece of paper, but yeah.
Yeah, that too. But anyway, it was the Star Trek 4, the one that was going to reunite Chris Pine and Chris Hemsworth, father and son, through some more universe-altering shenanigans. It was a storyline that JJ and Bad Robot were so proud of, and everyone else thought sounded like incredible utter crap, and no one really wanted to see it happen, so thank God it didn't. These are now the people that are showrunners for the Lord of the Rings series, and they have done absolutely nothing whatsoever that I know of to merit that they have anything in it for that. Script Doctor, are you familiar with their work? Do they have anything mind-blowing unpublished, or is it simply their Bad Robot connection? That Bad Robot is like spreading their wings a little bit further and installing some more of their acolytes in another franchise. What's going on here?
Sadly, I think it's the latter, because I'm familiar with their names as assistants at Bad Robot, but I've never had any of their work come across my desk before. Not even in casual, not even people saying like, hey, this writing team, they do this, because every once in a while I get like a burst of emails from some friends that said, hey, these are some new writers that are unrepped. They're sending these stuff to our contest or what have you. You should take a look at this. And so I get names of all various writers that no one has ever heard of, that some are really good, some are really terrible. I've never read anything of theirs before, so I have no idea what their level of quality is. And it's and if there is any level of quality, it's kept very close to the chest within the companies that they work for. None of it has ever been spread out, and that's usually pretty rare. It's either something very, very, very good, or people or it's really bad and nobody wants anyone else to see it, because like there's always exchanges to some degree. But Bad Robot is pretty good at keeping a tight lid on their projects. That's the other part too. So I don't know. I
Maybe
wish I had more.
maybe they should start leaking their projects so that we realize, hey, maybe this sucks. So you guys so they can make some changes on the fly and try to get better.
No, you know what I've heard, and Cecil and Anna, I want to hear your takes on this, and like if this what I've heard been completely wrong. I haven't heard anything about their skills, about writers in particular, but what I've heard through our Star Trek sources is that these guys are first and foremost very good politicians. And they, more than knowing how to write the story, they know how to maneuver themselves, and they know to let the boss know that they know who the boss is, and they know how to push or toe the company line. And
So
that is more than anything else what has given them first Star Trek 4 and now this. It's not that they've done anything to earn it, but like they've just earned it by being politicians, is what I've heard.
Like
Cecil,
they wiped it off.
yeah, exactly. How does that sound plausible? And how excited does that make you for Lord of the Rings?
Not much, but it reminds me of when it's somebody who's a politician who got ahead. It just kind of reminds me of Kathleen Kennedy. Like, she was politically connected, and obviously the creativity suffers when you have a politician running things. So I don't know if these people just made the right moves, were for the right causes, kissed the right asses, and that's where they are. But I don't know how that's going to translate to creativity. It didn't with Star Wars, that's for sure.
Anna, your first thoughts on that? How excited are you upon hearing that?
I mean, I don't know anything about them, but aside from what we just talked about. But I mean, to be completely honest, the second I heard they're going to go the Game of Thrones route with Lord of the Rings, I was like, I'm out. Unless the trailer looks absolutely phenomenal, I'm not gonna invest too much hope in it.
This whole thing with JJ spreading his minions, it reminds me of, for a situation that we had in football years ago, and to Andre, it'd be American football to our global listeners, where you had a guy named Kevin Gilbride. Kevin Gilbride in the early 90s was an offensive genius. Oh, the offensive genius, Kevin Gilbride. Everybody extolled his virtues. And, in reality, when you took a look at his record, he wasn't a very good coach. He wasn't very good, but he sent his minions out into the league, and a lot of teams adopted his philosophy. It was a losing philosophy, but they always come back to, oh yeah, but Kevin Gilbride did this. I'm like, yeah, but he's not doing anything now. He got fired. He got fired from more teams than he actually worked for. And it's no surprise that JJ's spreading his tentacles throughout the industry, that they're looking at JJ. Oh, well, JJ's had a lot of success. Yeah, but look, it's short-lived success. It's, you have Kurtzman, you have the Matt Reeves, there's another dumbass running something else. I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Lindelof?
Yeah, Lindelof. All the JJ acolytes are branching out, and because of their association with JJ, they're just getting their foot in the door immediately, just because JJ had some success, even though he can't throw one into the ocean anymore. And I'm hoping it's going to be exposed at some point, but it doesn't look like it is.
Yeah. Script, what I just said about what I've heard about them being politicians more so than skilled writers. As someone in the industry, does that sound plausible, or have I been completely misinformed?
Well, you're not misinformed at all. There's always some vein of negotiating politics and kind of like popularity contest akin to something of high school that goes around the industry all the time. I mean, nepotism still is a thing there. If you have a family member, no matter how loosely affiliated you are, that's in the industry, you can weaponize that to get funding and financing for your projects, because there's always that potential that maybe it'll create a new network of connections. At the same time, you can start out as a writing assistant, and if you are able to have a good rapport with your boss, that can lead to bigger and better things. It's not going to be as instant, but you just have to work at it. I mean, it's worked a little bit for myself here and there, but that's just mostly because I've had good chemistry with the people who I've worked under.
Hollywood,
that's the case here.
Hollywood doesn't often reward hard work, does it?
Not well. Here's the thing: like Hollywood is terrified of taking a risk, so that's why they're mostly a trend follower as opposed to a trailblazer. But whenever there is that risk, where you see that new movie that does something new, the whole rest of the industry wants to get in on that bandwagon, and they laud the person that took the risk, and that's when they celebrate. But you have a guy like J.J. Abrams and his company, which never take risks. I mean, the closest thing to a risk they took was Lost. And everybody with a solid head on their shoulders knew that show had no means to deliver on its promise.
And
right at the stop.
Tom, when did Hollywood have its best era?
Roughly 1970 to 95.
And what did they do during that era? What did they do during that era that they were so good, that they were doing so well?
Well, that's when you had a lot of other companies instead of when old Hollywood was dying out, and you had like Seagram's and Coca-Cola and Gulf and Western and all that stuff step in and buy all the companies, and they didn't know how to make movies. They're just like, here's a bunch of money, George Lucas, here's a bunch of money, Steven Spielberg, Brian De Palma, Francis Ford Coppola, Martin Scorsese, insert your, super name here from that era, and say, look, we don't know how to do this. Go make a movie, and we'll promote the hell out of it, and we know how to sell it. But that's about it. Yeah.
Remember Alan Ladd Jr. George. I don't understand this, but you know what? I'm going to take a chance on you.
Yeah. It was all about taking chances and seeing what come out of it.
Now, again, sports analogy. Everybody's into analytics. Everybody's into sabermetrics. And if there is a formula that can tell you how to put a winning baseball team together using percentages and stats, okay, fine. But we haven't gotten there as far as putting a formula together, a mathematical formula together to show you what's going to be a winning movie at the box office. We really haven't. Because as I always say, listen, when people want recommendations from me, I always tell them, I can only tell you what I like. Whether or not you're going to like it, that's a whole other story. And you have guys now, again, that think they're like J.J. Abrams and like Kathleen Kennedy, that think they are the arbiters of taste for the entire country, for the entire world, for the entire audience. It doesn't work like that. You have sometimes, Steve Jobs once said, listen, we don't know what the audience, we don't know what the consumer wants until we give it to them.
Right. Well,
it's an imperfect science.
I know what they want,
Cecil.
They want The Rock.
Yes. Yeah. Blackjack and hookers.
No, the general formula in Hollywood is high concept, notable director, and a big star name. That's basically the bare minimum that they can guarantee.
And going back to Andre's original question, I guess, and going off of what Rob just said, is no, like anymore, it's more about the agenda, more about the message than it is about, actually telling a good story. And I have zero hope for Lord of the Rings. That way, if I go in and I'm disappointed, then I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I think that's a healthy attitude. And before we leave Lord of the Rings completely, we got us a couple of super chats about Lord of the Rings that I'm going to go through before we get into more agenda-driven entertainment, or entertainment that there is desire to make agenda-driven. Cecil, you were saying?
I have one question for you to super chats. The last year, the big thing was how orcs were. Do you remember how they were saying orcs were being like treated racistly because they were the stand-ins for people of color, and it was like this whole bullshit thing that was. What are the odds? Anybody want to place odds that they address this in this Lord of the Rings series? And there's kind of like an orcs' rights.
Orc lives matter. Orc lives matter.
Guys, that wasn't for Lord of the Rings. That was for World of Warcraft.
Yeah, but it still applies.
Same idea.
Do you think it's going to be completed? Yeah, probably.
They're going to know the difference.
Yes, nerds.
It's wrong. I tell you, it's wrong. I think orcs have to live in the mines of Moria. It's telling you, why are we segregating the orcs? Why can't we incorporate them into the society?
I would put even money on it that orcs are brought up and the way they're treated, and there's
I'm not so sure, because you have a plenty diverse cast that can probably do that all on their own without bringing up the orcs. But of course, why not hammer in even more?
Okay, Tom, which one of the cast is not Idris Elba? That is, is their Idris Elba stand-in.
Who knows?
We can't get Idris Elba, so we'll just get this guy. We'll call him not Idris Elba.
Lenny Henry?
I guess. I don't know. I haven't seen him.
Well, if you say so, then yeah.
I don't know. All I know is I got literally nothing out of that supposed synopsis. Of the show.
I don't think you were meant to. It was only meant to like get you excited, and it's not going to be too specific because then you won't be excited. Is my guess.
Well, the hardcore Tolkien guys are going to say, "Ooh, they're doing the War of the Ring. They're doing the War of the Ring." But I'm like, at the same time, I'm like, that's meaningless to anyone who really hasn't read all the extended lore.
Those extreme Tolkien guys, they're about to feel the same thing that Star Wars guys and Star Trek guys have already felt, and at the hands of Bad Robot 2. So, yeah, welcome to the club. Is that the best way of putting it, maybe?
Probably.
Yeah, well,
because,
at this point, we've already learned that Bad Robot needs to be reprogrammed. So
yeah, because
there's something in the chat. Okay, Kat. No, the orcs weren't analogies for Nazis because I don't believe Nazis existed at that time because it was during World War I, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it was an allegory for World War I. I mean, the elves are actually the Americans. They came to Europe for a short time and then they left.
No, but you're right about the first part. Like when all that stuff was going on, that was clearly the problem. Was those who were sitting here going off about it were obviously projecting into the whole idea that the orcs were a stand-in for black people or what have you, and it was just like, okay, in what universe?
Okay, so the whole orc thing. So again, that was World of Warcraft. So in World of Warcraft, the orcs are aliens actually that come to, the planet from their own planet.
So there's even less of an allegory there.
Well, yeah, but then they're also slaves and stuff. So that's why somebody's like, well, orcs are standing for black people, and I'm like, no, they're not. But whatever.
Yeah, the orcs are originally elves that were tortured and mutilated.
Yeah.
In Lord of the Rings.
I remember when I first heard this idea just casually where they said orcs are racist, and I'm like, really? They're holding up signs and using derogatory terms to elves and humans and hobbits?
You hairy foot motherfucker.
Something of that nature, yeah. But then you realize this weird allegory. I'm like, no, that doesn't make sense at all.
Tom, we said we weren't going to speak ill of Brie Larson on this.
You had
what
to
does
bring
Brie
that.
Larson have to do with it?
Feet.
What? Oh.
She has big, ugly hobbit feet.
Hey, I have hobbit feet too.
Yeah, but I doubt they're anything like hers.
No. She has like bunions and stuff because she wears high heels. But she doesn't have hairy feet. That's one of the qualifications of a hobbit. And
too much info.
Jake described Brie Larson's feet as looking like a British person's teeth.
Oh, Jesus.
Anyway,
what do we got for super chats?
Compliments all around here, from honest feet to British teeth. Yeah, let's get into the super chats.
Andre, you made a rhyme.
Yeah, well, sometimes I have a little scold in me. So, yeah, there you go. Or that's a bod, actually, I think it is in English. Bod. I have a bod in me sometimes. Moving on to the super chats as pertaining to Lord of the Rings. Taker610 said, "Lord of the Rings Seinfeld. It's about nothing." While
oh my God.
Storyman Jack says, "Nothing is safe. They're going to remake this. Battlestar Galactica, Buck Rogers, and many others. It's a form of revisionism to take our heroes away from us." William Sova says, "I tried to read the Lord of the Rings books once, but I broke them over a burglar's head in self-defense. So I can say they make a great self-defense weapon." So there you go. And K-Mac the Great says, "Tolkien didn't grow up with TV or the internet. All he had was imagination. You can't match that today. Just leave it alone."
Yeah, he had to go walk uphill both ways in the snow to get his entertainment.
Indeed, indeed. And with that, speaking of entertainment, we've covered all there is to cover about Lord of the Rings, or certainly the most recent nothing burger of news. But then there's Cobra Kai, because Cobra Kai is universally beloved. Like everyone loves it. Now it's gone from YouTube Reds, where it could like fly under the radar, and gone from there to Netflix. And on Netflix is exposed to a whole new audience. So what happened when it got there? Tom, will you fill us in on the rest of the story?
Well, of course, anything that we enjoy that isn't tainted by the wokeitude of the great big masses that are out there will eventually be taken down, or if not taken down, scolded and shamed into being better, should we say. And ever since the LA Times did this, I don't know what you call it, kind of article, because we had a debate about
that's the inverse one. That's right there.
this is the inverse one, but this all started with the LA Times article in a Marvel writer, I believe it was, who the Marvel writer brought up the whole idea. What was it, Rob? That there wasn't enough Asian representation in Karate Kid.
Yeah.
And then shitloads of people piled on him like, wait a minute, that's a little racist to be saying just because the show's about karate and it doesn't have an Asian lead kind of thing. And then he deleted the tweet, I believe it was.
Yeah, they even went to China this year. What are they complaining about?
Well, actually, it was Okinawa, but yeah. Anyway,
I'm joking.
I know, a whole other country, but anyhow,
the Japanese proud that not only do we confuse Okinawa with Japan, we also confuse China with Japan.
Exactly.
So yeah, Jinping will be most pleased.
But regardless, oh, sorry, go ahead, Cecil.
I was joking.
I know you were. I know. But anyway, so. Needless to say, it didn't take long for the SJW crowd to pile on Cobra Kai. Why? Because it's got a male lead in it. It makes fun of woke culture. It doesn't have a bunch of messages in it for us to learn and make us better people, which actually it kind of does, but not in the way, shape, or form they want it to. And then all of a sudden now we're getting a bunch of articles that are basically, like I was saying, trying to pressure Cobra Kai to get better, be more diverse, and all this other crap. And then there was this doozy from Lisa Wertstedt, or however you say her name. She is trying to compare Cobra Kai to The Last Jedi by basically saying, well, you don't like The Last Jedi, well, and you like Cobra Kai, well, here's what's wrong with that. And by trying to compare the two in this really convoluted way. But needless to say, I think the bottom line here is that there's this active, I think Andre said it best in the opening, there's this active campaign now to make Cobra Kai more woke from the media, because it does have a bigger spotlight on it. I don't know what you guys are taking away from this. Let's start with you, Anna.
Cobra Kai,
Never die.
Eagle Fang.
Eagles don't have fangs.
Doesn't matter. I mean, it's really hard to find something to complain about with Cobra Kai, but I mean, that's all these people do. It's like they're like, oh, this is good. Let me find some way to destroy it, because guess what? The main cast is men. So we must destroy it because it's men. If this was all women, they would love it. They'd be praising it, be like, yes, Queen Slay. It'd be on every single, news site, platform, going to get all of the awards, bestest ever, but they hate it. So they're going to complain about it, even though it's good.
Yeah. Which is funny because actually there's only one technical all-white male lead, because Ralph Macchio is, of Italian descent, and obviously so. And then the rest of the cast, though, is pretty damn diverse. I mean, even in this third season, you had Miguel's mother got a little bit more screen time. We had another returning character that was female that had a lot of screen time in one episode specifically. And then we had, Daniel's wife got a little bit more of the spotlight in this last season as well. So, I don't get it. And we've had a lot of strong female characters among the cast as well, besides, the diversity. I mean, Miguel is one of the main characters of the show, and,
His mom.
Yeah, and his mom. Yeah, like I brought up just before. Yeah, and his mom and all that kind of stuff. So I just don't understand where they're coming from here. on this crap, other than it's just a bunch of propaganda agenda bullshit that they're trying to come in and ruin Cobra Kai is what I feel like they're doing.
Yeah, and let me tell you, what they just did was the most brilliant attack you could do on a show. If you really want to destroy it, link it to The Last Jedi.
Right?
That was an insidious attack on.
No, and that's exactly the point. Yeah, that's what I was getting to. Is like, oh, you don't like The Last Jedi? Well, then you shouldn't like Cobra Kai because it's exactly the same, or you should like Last Jedi because it's exactly the same. However you want to see it, but you're exactly right, Cecil.
You know what's weird, Tom? Which I just realized right now. So I on January 1st, I posted a tweet saying like, oh, I just binge watched Cobra Kai and it's awesome. And then this person, I'll see if I can find it. But it's so weird because they said the same thing, that, oh, it's like The Last Jedi and it ruined everything about Cobra Kai. And then later the person admitted to never watching the show. But it's funny because that's exactly what this article is. I'm like, I wonder if this is the same person.
Yeah.
Well, Tom, remember that article though about Captain Marvel or something like that? Well, I haven't watched the movie, but
yeah.
Oh no, I will say this. I don't think it necessarily was the same person, but I think it was someone of the same mindset that will latch onto that and use it as a means to, in Twitter takedowns, or in Twitter like arguments or spats or what have you, not try to take Cobra Kai down a few notches, because it's something that people actually enjoy without it being the kind of propaganda that the ideologues out there would have liked it to be, and they're just going to latch onto anything. And The Last Jedi was something of a golden calf within the industry, but it's quickly fading because they realize that they increasingly realize that they can't pretend that this is this kind of beloved masterpiece when there's no real evidence to support that it actually is. Quite the contrary. And so now, and that's actually something funny, that they use it now suddenly in a negative light. And that's something that hasn't happened before.
It's a logical fallacy because what they're doing is, speculatively speaking, of course, what they're doing is they're trying to take the arguments that a lot of fans had with The Last Jedi and apply it to Cobra Kai to try and see if they could get a switch out of people. Because what The Last Jedi does is, the premise is, there is some familiarity. We're taking a look at a character that is at their lowest point, so to speak. And supposedly The Last Jedi is supposed to tell a story of Luke rising above that, which I would say is debatable. Yeah. But here with Cobra Kai, it's a character who is, he's at his lowest point, and then a kid comes into his life and helps him get back onto a journey where he becomes a mentor and a role model and helps this kid that's struggling out of a tough situation. But that's not what The Last Jedi is about, because Rey doesn't have a tough situation. And she's not really helped by Luke in any way. And Luke is completely averse to helping her throughout the entirety of the film until the very end for reasons. So, it's a logical fallacy to try and compare the two, because they may have some similarities with regards to the starting point of that premise, but one is done with understanding of cause and effect, an understanding of character, a goal in mind, with an ending that is going to be intended to give the audience a smile on their face, where The Last Jedi doesn't achieve any of that in any way, shape, or form, and it also deters from the story for a good hour for no reason whatsoever.
But you're forgetting the biggest problem with Cobra Kai script. Johnny's a straight white male. So we can't have a straight white male be a good role model. Oh no.
Yeah, not only that, he is from their point of view the furthest thing from a good role model, because he is, by the definition of a toxic white male, he's someone that openly speaks out against their agenda and their, like, everything that they hold value. Like, he even says that Cobra Kai, that represents a fight of styling that your sissy generation desperately needs. And you can like have asthma and all that made up bullcrap outside, but not in here. You don't. And it's a little bit tough. But you know what, Johnny Lawrence, he's gonna say some some messages that quite a lot of people out there, especially in the Twitter sphere, desperately need to hear.
You know, I was on. Why am I on Twitter? I'll never know. But anyway, the whole thing with the guy and his daughter and the can of beans, and the whole thing, and it says, "Oh, he made her sit there until she could open the beans with the can opener." I'm like, and I'm like, and I was like, your generation is so soft. I'm like, my dad at 9 years old made me go outside gather firewood. And he said, "You're not going to come in until you get enough." I'm like, is this the bar now? That's how low the bar is.
That's what Johnny represents. What you just mentioned, Rob, is that he is and I love that you have Archie Bunker up because I've compared him to it. Like he is Archie Bunker.
Well, no, if I may, Tom, the reason they hate the show is because Johnny is basically Trump in their mind, the anti-PC.
Kind of, yeah.
No, living in the 80s.
You could be anti-PC and not be Trump. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, geez.
Well, not in their minds, you can't.
Right.
In the minds of the people that make these kind of articles, in their worldview, no, you can't. Like, because they see the world in black or white.
Yeah,
someone that isn't fully on board with their agenda, but at the same time isn't like Trump or a Trump supporter, that does not compute to them.
Well, and then
it's a false dichotomy.
Well, and the thing is, in this article, I don't want to get too much into it because it does get into some spoilers, minor spoilers, but like basically she tries to do this real straw man argument on just because Luke is in one place when we see him in The Last Jedi, and Johnny is in a certain place when we've seen him at the beginning of the season, and where he is here, where he's at now in the situation. She tries to equate the two, and it just doesn't work.
No, comparing the two only highlights how fucking
absolutely,
bad,
sir.
How bad Last Jedi is. All it does. First of all, no one was asking for a Karate Kid. Karate Kid was a dead property. Literally, nobody fucking was saying more Karate Kid, please. It was dead. See, and that's what they say, like, bad writing is giving the audience what they don't want. Good writing is giving the audience what they do want, but great writing is giving the audience what they didn't know they wanted, and that's what they
needed. Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, and that's what they achieved with this. So to compare it to The Last Jedi, where you had a fan base begging for new material and begging for this property, and then just being served up a plate of shit. It just highlights how superior this is to the way Star Wars rolled out their franchise.
No, I agree with you in a lot of ways on that, but it's one of those things where they're keying in on the idea that you have this straight white male as the lead, and he's non-PC, he's everything anti-woke you could be, but at the same time he has an arc and he has a heart. And I feel like that's what they're keying in on is, you can't, people are enjoying this show, and the bigger thing I think that's bothering them is how much people love Johnny. Like, that is the thing that I think people never realized is, like, this character resonated with people, even though he was technically the bully in the original film, especially now after the last few seasons of the show, all the stuff on How I Met Your Mother, all the videos.
He was so good in that. That was like,
there's been this, it was like you said, Cecil, and I'm a huge Karate Kid fan, obviously, but like there was no point where I was going, I wish there was another one. I mean, Pat Morita was dead. As far as I was concerned, the franchise was dead. You know what I mean? Like, I never thought that there was life in this. And I always thought it was kind of a funny take. Daniel was really the bully. And I've debated and talked about that. And and even in my recent discoveries for our recent video we did, I found some deleted scenes that, like, oh yeah, if they'd have left these deleted scenes in, there would have been no doubt that Johnny was the bully. But since those scenes are gone, there is that air of, what could be. And that's what this show gave us. And that's what's awesome is they explored an element that nobody necessarily keyed in on originally, but over the years it kind of grew and grew and grew. And to try and compare that to what The Last Jedi was, that's not even close. Because like this would be like the equivalent of like, not even Boba Fett for that matter. I mean, there's nothing in the Star Wars universe that Johnny is like. But you were going to say something, Script, sorry.
Well, he's kind of, to a point, he's kind of like the Darth Vader, because it is a redemption arc for Johnny as well. Like, he's redeemed through his kids. he's perceived as the enemy from the original franchise, but he's at his lowest point. And thing is, audiences, one thing that you can kind of bet your dollar on is that audiences love an underdog story. They love a guy or a girl who's the world's kind of crapping on them and things aren't going well, and then they decide to take action on their own by their own volition and make their life better. And we like those types of stories because it's something that we as a human species have had to do at one point in our life, where we're just knocked down to our lowest point because of society or what have you, or whatever situation. And you have two choices. You can either wallow in it, or you can get back up and say, screw you, world. I'm going to go further, and I'm going to make my life better. And that's what we cheer and we love to get behind. And that's what Cobra Kai does.
And we love a comeback story. I mean, the Bad News Bears, Slapshot, Robert Downey Jr.
Well, those are all underdog comeback stories.
Well, yeah, but still.
Yeah, Major League.
Major League, exactly, yeah.
No, and that's what the show captures into. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Script.
No, I was just saying, like, sports analogies are your default thing. And, martial arts is technically a sport. So there you go. Like, it all hits.
Absolutely. And I think Anna's still gone, but now Cecil, have you caught up on the latest season at all, or have you been watching the show?
Yeah, I just finished it the other day, and yeah, I really do think the appeal. Somebody once said a couple of years ago, about what's the appeal for Trump, and it was that like people just find it refreshing to have somebody who just says what's on their mind, and it's kind of like a masculine trait, and people are so couched and so afraid to speak their mind because they don't want to be called an istophobe or be misinterpreted. And he seemed to have just not give a shit about it. And I think, Johnny's character, somebody in the chat, I'm sorry, I can't give you credit, but they had a point. They were like, Johnny never was on the internet, so he's been shielded from wokeism. Whoever said that, it was a great point. Like, he's completely oblivious to PC culture. Not only does he not participate in it, he's not even aware of it.
No. Right.
And
I love that line when a kid's like, I'm on the spectrum. He's like, I don't know what that is, but you need to get off of it right away.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's drank away the last 30 years. So he's still trapped in the 80s to a point.
Remember when he was on the date with the girl? She said, I love taking down the patriarchy. Yeah, I hate the Patriots too.
And he is. That's what he is. He's Archie Bunker. He's just so oblivious. And he doesn't mean, to be that. It's just that's the way he was raised. That's the way he's grown. He's lived in this little world of his own, he knows
karate,
creation.
he knows beer, he knows cars, he knows women, he has his world. I mean, and nothing is really intruded upon that. So he can approach things from a new perspective and see everything for what it is. I'm like, get out of here with you and your spectrum, okay? Son, you're oh well, I need to. No, you're a pussy, okay? Shut up.
Well, and not to get into spoilers too much because Andre hasn't seen the last season or most of season 2, but like that's the whole thing is he kind of realizes, Cobra Kai is not exactly the way. I have to adjust things a bit. So like already within the first season, we're starting to see growth. We're starting to see change, and he gets this idea of strike first, strike hard, no mercy. But that changes a little bit to
changes to conditional mercy.
Exactly. And conditionally striking first. Strike back is more what it becomes like. So like he starts to understand that things are not the way they should be in this, way that he was taught.
Well, that mindset got him nowhere.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's where it got him in his place in his life. And then this kid Miguel comes in and gives him a second chance, on being a father, which he fucked up. And not only that, he sees like himself in Miguel, and at the same time Miguel is an exact and this is where Cobra Kai does what Star Wars was trying to do right. Miguel is an exact replica of Daniel, but instead of him meeting Mr. Miyagi, he meets Johnny Lawrence, which is a prototypical Kreese. So that's what we're seeing is, okay, is Johnny Lawrence going to become Kreese? Or is he going to become more like Daniel or his own thing? And that's where we see, especially in like this, in his growth throughout the series, is that like he's trying to create his own image of himself, and it's that self growth. I think that they don't like. I think that they see that and they say, "Oh, well, we can't have this," because it's they love their characters to be like, you know, like Mikey Spock or like Ray or like these all ones that are pre-programmed, pre-packaged, perfect self-insert characters. They don't like them complicated. Even Sam is an infinitely, and that's the daughter character for those who don't know. She's an infinitely more complicated character than anything we've gotten on any of these other shows or movies. Because she has gone through one hell of an arc. And I've had conversations with people not only in private, but on chat and in the streams and stuff where they're like, oh, I don't like Sam or whatever. And it's like, well, do you not like the actor or do you not like the choices she's made? And 9 times out of 10, it's the character choices. It's not the actress. So there you go. That's the writing. I'm like, good. That's what you're supposed to do. Because when the show starts out, she is not the Daniel character. She is technically more the Johnny character if you look at it. And again, here we go with the Star Wars comparing to Cobra Kai, is that you have a character who was basically she's the daughter of our main original character, but instead of having the traits of our original main character, she has more of the traits of our original villain.
Yeah, she's also.
But Tom, she should be played by a non-binary actress of color.
I know, Rob, but what were you saying, Cecil? Sorry.
Oh no, she is more of the Johnny character because she's the rich kid.
Exactly. She's a spoiled rich kid. She's never had to work for anything in her life. She's in the in crowd. You know, she's got her mean girls basically as friends, just like Johnny had his little cadre of friends and stuff. But
And Tori's the anti.
Tori is a prototypical Kreese, a young Kreese. Like her role is set up to basically she's either going to go the same road or she's going to choose a different one. Yeah,
same. She has the same attitude, same job. She's a waitress. You know, she's everything. Like I said,
careful with the spoilers. Andre hasn't seen the third season.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, it's fine. It's fine. Like just discussed. I'm sure that many. Well, let's not go overboard. But
we didn't say
not for me, but for everyone else out there. That's
I'm trying to.
What I will say though, it's a fantastic series. I look forward to catching up on it.
No, and there was a lot of people who were afraid at the end of that second season because, like I will say, Andre, you know, the second season has probably been the lower point of the show so far because it started seeming like it was going to go down this road where there was a lot of people, I think, like Jeremy and other people were, this third season is going to go woke. And instead it didn't. It went almost, I wouldn't say it went the opposite because then that would be overcorrecting, but it was just unwoke enough. And it made just enough fun of the woke culture and used it to its advantage. And again, not to get into spoilers, but just the certain way that certain people manipulated the woke culture in this last season was brilliant. You know, and for the people that have come out and they're talking about the stupid shit about this show, seriously, just enjoy the fucking show. Enjoy the fact that it's diverse and it doesn't have to call attention to that every 10 fucking minutes.
Yeah, and that's bad because they want to call attention.
Exactly. That's what they want. And that's what this whole campaign's about, Andre. And this is what I was trying to tell you the other day when we were talking about that LA Times article to begin with. I'm like, that's what this is all about. It's not so much that, you know, yeah, it's a good show and they're trying to do this. No, it's more about these people are trying to conform the show to what they want. This is another one where they're trying to come after it because before it was on Netflix, they didn't care. Like you said, it was under the radar. It didn't matter. Even though then it within a certain period had over 50 million views on the original episode. And they've doubled that audience basically with Netflix now because they gave us some numbers yesterday. Reportedly over 40 million people watched this third season of Cobra Kai. Now, if you want to know about how that comparatively is number-wise, at its peak, shows like Big Bang Theory had 17 million in their most viewed episodes, right?
Oh, wow. It's a massive hit then.
We're getting into like Beatles on Ed Sullivan territory here.
Yeah, even your standard football game on a Sunday has about 18 million viewers. So I'm just trying to put this into perspective here. This show is a massive hit. Now, it's not like nearly as big as, say, like Game of Thrones or probably Stranger Things yet. But when they put the last 2 seasons, which had been out for a couple of years now on Netflix last year, and they put them on near the end of the year, they were already in the top 10 shows for Netflix for the year, just in those last, whatever it was, 2 months, I think it was on Netflix. Just for those first 2 seasons. So right there, this show is really resonating. So these people are seeing this and they're saying, wait a minute, we got a problem here. This show is all about a white guy. That's the problem they see.
Yeah. And people like him. He's a likable, he is Archie Bunker. That's basically his character.
It
So,
is. He's a lovable, ignorant fool. We love him for that specific reason, is because he's innocent in that. It's like, yeah, he says stupid shit, but he don't mean it like that. Just like Archie, and usually every episode is Archie getting his comeuppance and learning a lesson from it, right? And we get a little bit of that with Johnny. That's the whole show.
yeah, I mean, have you never got that? There's never been an episode for me where you just sighed and be like, what? Like you didn't get a heavy-handed, like, all right, and you expect it almost in everything you watch nowadays to be like, where's the fucking propaganda, or where's that one line they got to slip in, and they just it doesn't come. It doesn't happen in any of the episodes I can remember that there was any kind of just propagandizing or preaching, and it's so you're just so used to it that you almost brace yourself for any show you watch. It's going to be one line or something, they'll slip something in.
Yeah,
but they've managed to have a hit show, and I don't know if, maybe that's why people just are just tired of being preached at.
yeah, I think that's part of it. And Mandalore the Great says the fact that people compare the two is laughable. And yeah, that's kind of the whole point we're boiling this down to begin with. And thank you for the $5 super chat. And we're going to get back to the other super chats here. But when I saw this article, I spent almost an hour just busting my brain on it, Rob, the other day. It was just so freaking ridiculous. I mean, we're not going to read this article because, again, I'm not going to give her any more attention than she deserves, which is none here, because this article is a whole lot of stupid, and this is the most glaring evidence I could find of what I was trying to say to Andre the other day of what's going on here, and that is this is a big active campaign to try and ruin the show.
Yep. But Tom, what I've noticed
What's
is
that?
all of these outrageous articles. Like I read one the other day that was like, oh, Anakin turned to the dark side because of toxic masculinity. And then this is the last, Cobra Kai is the last Jedi. And it's like all of these articles that are just completely outrageous are all written by women who have most likely never seen any of it.
That's a good point. Like, because I know, like, this Lisa chick, I did a little bit of research into her. She's younger. Chances are she's probably never seen the original Karate Kid movies, let alone the original Star Wars movies. And again, like Andre was saying before, The Last Jedi was one of these movies that, like Ghostbusters and a few other ones, they really got behind, and it really made them look bad in the end. And I think that they're trying so hard and desperately to grasp onto anything that's popular just so they can try and get us. It's like a propaganda thing. I see it as plain as day, but it's really starting to piss me off more than anything, especially now that they're going to mess with one of my most favorite shows right now.
Yeah, that's like the thing, that the show is so good, and that's why it's so popular, and why it has such appeal, even with people that have never seen the original Karate Kid. But here's like the thing: I'm not a fan of the Karate Kid, the original movies. I like them fine, but I have no affection towards them, none whatsoever.
Yeah, same.
They mean nothing to me. Yeah, there you go. Exactly, Cecil.
I like the show way more than I liked any of those movies, for sure.
Yeah, me too. Like, the only thing that I'll use the movies for is that I have to say, okay, now who's this again? Let me just go and rewatch. Oh, yeah, that's who this is. Now let's get back to the good stuff in Cobra Kai.
Yeah, and I love bringing up I don't love bringing it up because it usually signifies something bad, but this little cartoon, and I wish I could credit the author. I don't know who made it. I've been trying to figure it out for a while because I've used it a few times, but this really, in a nutshell, to me, it says exactly what they're trying to do with this show and what they've done with everything else to this point. It's like, you don't fit in here. All right, well, we'll go make our own thing, and then, well, why are you excluding us? Oh, no. And then they try to come in and change it. And that's everything we've had in every fandom. And it's like, you can't let anything be sacred. You can't leave nothing alone. You can't let us have just one. It's like,
Remember that cartoon with Ethan? He is, you had people like Kelly Sue DeConnick and Gail Simone. Nice little hobby got there. We're gonna have to come in and fix it, and they come in and fix it, and they ruin it. And they try to push everybody out who was originally there. Yeah.
If you don't like my politics, don't buy my book. Problem solved.
How was I gonna buy your book in the first place, bitch?
Well, it's funny that she says that because guess what? Oh my gosh, her book got canceled.
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't
I
it
have to
also
say,
odd that she matches her lipstick to her hair color? Like, you don't see that with blondes or brunettes.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
She's just got like such a smug face on her. Jeez.
Well,
Oh
she's
my.
just you can just see it like writhing out of her. She's just such a miserable person. And there's this thing with people that are unhappy and angry is they don't want anyone else to be happy.
No.
And it makes them upset. So what do? If there's a happy person in the room, they will do whatever they can to bring them down. And that's exactly what women like her do. Like women that wrote those stupid articles, they've obviously never watched it, and she probably didn't read very many comics, because in that same interview she's like, where are these comics that are apolitical? And I'm like, didn't you read any of the pulp comics? Like, those are fantastic. A majority of them are one shots, but I mean, you wouldn't be able to tell a majority of these authors' political views. So shut the hell up. That just tells me that even I have read more comics than she has.
No, and that's the funny part about Cobra Kai, and it's funny that we equating the two now, because normally something like Cobra Kai would be a story that would be perfectly put into comic book form first. Like, normally Cobra Kai is something that I would never thought I would see on television, but you would tell me, like, if that was going to be a comic book, I would totally believe you.
it
Like,
would be something you'd
yeah.
expect Dark Horse to do. You know, Dark Horse
Exactly.
that did the best alien stories outside of the first two movies, and the best Predator stories outside of that first movie, and the only good alien versus Predator stories. I mean, yeah, you'd expect Dark Horse to come up with something like Cobra Kai, but here it is on the big screen. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I know. And then you got people like Kelly Sue and Justina, what's her face, who's
Ireland.
Ireland, who's saying basically the same shit with the whole Star Wars thing. And right there is a prime example. But yet we're here, you know, they should be doing stuff like Cobra Kai instead. Cecil, go ahead. Sorry.
Did you see the Bounding into Comics with author, what the hell's his name? Daniel Jose Older?
Oh, look at
Oh, actually, I got that right here.
Yeah, but it was in private chat.
Star Wars is done.
Do you have it? He does a 52 seconds of play that little clip. It's 52 seconds of him.
All right, I got to share the audio. Okay.
Yeah, it's 52 seconds of him talking about his project. See how many times he mentions the plot, and how many times he says non-binary, and what was the other? Oh my God. It's all agenda. He barely in 52 seconds he says non-binary and some other
Yeah, well, this should be good.
Who asks about Taka Jamarisa, hotshot pilot, aspiring scoundrel, great taste in music from my novel Last Shot. Taka also has a pet wart named Cord. Things that were important to me when writing this character. Keep in mind, there is no one right way to write people of a certain demographic. This was my particular take for this character, Taka Jamarisa. I wanted to show that they were a person of color because there are very few non-binary people and even fewer non-binary people of color presented in media. I wanted them to be able to say their own pronouns and not have other people gender them and decide their gender from the outside. I wanted them to be clearly a human and not an alien, because in this particular case that was important. And I wanted to show canonically Han and Lando respecting their them pronouns without missing a beat, because they're heroes, and real heroes respect people's pronouns.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
Well, I'm really distracted by that horrible green screen, and they're missing a tag to that book of Last Shot, which is "and then it missed."
Oh!
You know what I want? I want like the point of view character in the Last Shot to have a run-in with Johnny Lawrence.
Oh shit!
I mean, this is almost like the quintessential like woke, messaging over story. I mean, she's a scoundrel and she likes good music, but did you understand? She's a person of color. She's non-binary. She uses
it's a they. It's no she. They. Like you're being nasty now. It's a they. We don't know. We don't know if this is an XYA or XY they or an XX they.
Well, they're faceless.
Immediately, he immediately failed the red letter media test.
I can tell you what Johnny would say, Andre.
Oh yeah, do share.
I don't know what your pronouns are, but how much do those make?
Yeah, indeed.
Johnny would say he's anti-nouns.
Oh, that's just funny, that scene where he's on the phone and he's like, yes, we got classes for guys and girls. He's like, non-binary. What is this, a prank call?
Then I think Anna, you sent me this, didn't you? Okay, it's the same thing. Okay.
Yeah, it's just a Chewbacca, and it has like the statements and quotes and stuff.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Let's see what he's got to say here. This is from back in 2015. Hang on, Kitty's making noise here.
Girls were girls and men were men. Mr. Wade could use a man like Herbert Hoover again.
Not that Rob couldn't have read some of these, but anyway.
Hold on. Let me see what we got here. This is Chewbacca, the thing there?
Yep.
Okay, I got it. All right, we got it up. Here we go. Daniel, Jose Older, wants heroes to use pronouns, and I want him to be unemployed. Back in 2015, Jose Older told Locus magazine, I think science fiction is changing quickly. I don't want people to think that means we can stop trying to make change or feel self-gratified. Like, we did it, but you can tell it's changing because people who are on the way out are upset and uncomfortable. Oh, for crying out loud. Because they've always been catered to. People have always fallen over themselves. Okay, stop. Okay, stop. When those new fans start that you want to come in, when they start spending money, you cater to them. Okay, they don't buy shit. How many times we gotta go over this? Show me the money.
Okay, Rob. Reel it in. This is why we got to have more mean. He's got to get this out of his system. Where were you here on this thing?
People have always fallen over themselves to move out of their way, and people are not doing. Okay, I can't say this.
Yeah, can you just continue reading the text, and we'll get through it.
Okay, people blah 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 blah. I mean, people not doing it anymore, and it's uncomfortable for them. Like when kids are spoiled and someone takes away their toys. Reminds them that they live in reality, and they're like, what? The whole concept of science fiction or sci-fi or fantasy is not being political or imperial endeavor. It is absurd. It always has been. Oh, for God's sake. Most people who aren't straight, why, here we go, read fantasy and science fiction with certain protectors up. Knowing we're about to cringe, let's talk about the word offended. Because that's the word people use to describe what's going on. Offended doesn't have shit to do with it. I don't get offended. I don't want my people to be erased. I don't want my people to be demonized, especially kids. They internalize that.
What do you mean, your people?
What you mean, yo people?
Yeah, we'll just continue reading.
They internalize and feel like they can't be protagonists. The people who are really offended are white, oh, here we go, who suddenly see themselves as not centralized. And they're offended. Be offended. That's totally cool. I'm not okay with people who are always erased, being erased again and again. It has nothing to do with me being offended. Where does that leave us? Yes, we are seeing a renaissance of counter narratives in fantasy and sci-fi, and that needs to happen. It's good for literature. On top of being bad for humanity, that old shit is cliche. White savior narratives are cliche. They're boring. It wasn't good writing in the 50s, and it's not good writing today. I think that needs to be said. It's a craft failure on top of human failure. Shut the fuck up, asshole. Shut the fuck up. Blow it out your ass. Blow it out your whichever non-binary sphincter of your choosing, okay?
So, yeah, now that Rob got to share his feelings, what are your thoughts on that? This is someone then that the Kennedy camp has chosen to write one of their Star Wars books. Presumably this is part of High Republic, isn't it?
Yes,
Anna, so let's hear your first thoughts on that before we have Cecil weigh in.
Well, I couldn't understand half of that, but I got the gist. I don't know. It's weird. I went and watched, interviews with these people so I could get kind of a grasp of who everyone was that's going to be writing the High Republic books. And I found an interview of him, almost a decade ago, and he seemed rather normal when he was talking about his books. And he's just like, oh yeah, I grew up in New York, and I just kind of wanted to do like, there's a big thing about, the mobs here. But he's like, I wanted to tell it from a point of view of like a kid that grew up here, and you don't want to get involved, and then something happens, you have to get involved. And all he did was talk about this story, and I'm like, I absolutely hate mobster stories, and it's like I passionately hate The Godfather. Like if somebody wanted to torture me for information, they'd make me watch that movie. But like
Best
the way he was,
best movie of all time.
no, it's not.
Godfather's not a no. Okay, I'll talk about that later. But
Okay, tomato. It's about the mafia, right?
it's a family portrait, is what it is.
Well, it's a terrible, terrible, terrible family. That being said,
that's the idea, though.
Well, exactly. It's a bad movie. Anyways, the way he was pitching his book, I was like, this is not something I would ever be interested in. But the way he's talking about it so passionately, it makes me want to look into it. And then this was from 2015, so it's 6 years ago. And it's weird how somebody changes to adapt to the industry that they're in, so that way they can get work.
See, I don't think he adapted. I think he's always been like this, except now that he feels secure enough that he can get away with it.
I disagree.
Yeah,
I disagree.
I don't think I've done a lot of research on him, and he used to be an EMT, and he that's what he did before he became a writer. He used to go, a first responder, and he used to be an ambulance driver, and one of those people. I don't know the exact thing, but
I think that I want to hear what Cecil has to say. But first, I want to say that I agree completely with Anna. I don't think he's always been this way. I think that he's become radicalized to become this way by all of the wokeness and propaganda surrounding him on Twitter and probably around him 24/7 the last few years. I think he's become this way, that he's been radicalized. But go back 10 years in time, I don't think he was so at all. Cecil, what do you think about that?
I think people go the path of least resistance, and this is it's a cop out, and it's an easy path. It's a shortcut. If you start espousing this stuff, you become bulletproof. You're critique proof, and you're champion no matter what shit you put out. So you start to learn, like, if I say this, I don't get critiqued. I get more work. So he's towing the company line, and pushing the whole, I don't know, the whole non-binary. It just reminded me of people you met. It's like, it's what uninteresting people do to get attention. It's like, instead of developing a personality or interests or likes and dislikes, and it's just easier to just be like, I'm a non-binary, blah, 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 otterkin or whatever. And it's like, all of a sudden, they're like, that makes me something. I'm interesting. I now have a personality. No, you don't have a personality. You have a label. You don't have a personality. And it's just that's a shortcut too. I see it a lot of times. It's just it's a way of being noticed without actually doing anything.
I can totally picture, though, at the orientation meeting at Lucasfilm Story Group, we're totally about agenda here, guys. So just let it fly. We don't see agenda in it. Put agenda into it.
Yeah, I mean, he barely meant. I mean, he mentioned a throwaway. He's like, oh, she's a badass pilot who likes good music, but she's a person of color and she's non-binary, and of course Han and Lando use her pronouns or their pronouns because real heroes use pronouns.
Wait a second, he said Han and Lando in that thing, but this takes place 300 years before the Phantom Menace, so Han and Lando weren't alive.
Unless this is not actually part of the High Republic, I don't know.
He said Han and Lando effortlessly, use the proper pronouns because heroes use pronouns.
Han and Lando would laugh.
Yeah, they would. I mean, I guess we're kind of seeing how the High Republic falls is because they've got all this identity politics in their society.
Yeah, that is indeed how you kill a society. You end it so that it will never come back, and it'll be taken, and the world instead will be run by somewhere else. Let's say, that's a very good message.
This book was released 2 years ago. So it's well before the Get High Republic.
Okay. Yeah. Well, doesn't really excuse
Did
anything.
anybody
but,
read it?
My guess would be no.
That's about much excitement for it.
Yeah. Very, very exciting
But
indeed.
didn't one of the writers of the New Republic or the High Republic literally like almost paraphrase what Kelly? If you don't like my politics, don't buy my book.
Yeah, that was one of them. More or less paraphrased it, forgetting that what happened to the comics books. It got cancelled.
Well, I have a number here from Barnes and Noble. This book in their sales rank is number 50,920. So take that as you may.
Yeah, that's good going right there. Before we carry on with the Star Wars discussion, I just want to take us through the super chats that pertained to Cobra Kai, which was the previous things that we discussed, and it'll be all Star Wars all the time from there on out. Or at least close to it. So I'm just gonna get to the Cobra Kai things. Just give me 1 second here. On that note, by the way, Detritus says, "Have you seen the Lord of the Rings casting? Diversity boxes ticked." Yeah, indeed. And also on that note, Thunderstorm said, "Woke ring. They won't leave it alone. Everybody's entertainment will be touched non-consensually and want to make you watch." And Alexa Serra, getting to Cobra Kai, says, "Loving it so far. What franchise could be Cobra Kai'd? FTR, LOL. Tom Rothman sounds like Tom's Frank Marshall impression, LOL. Have a great one." Oh, thank you.
The only Tom Rothman interviews I've seen, he sounds more like Rob's impression, but that's a good question. I wonder what other franchises could benefit from a Cobra Kai update. That is a really good question. Anybody got any ideas?
All of them. Any franchise could benefit.
Well,
from a
I
Cobra
think
Kai
they're
update.
talking more about something like that isn't necessarily, a franchise that's on the tip of everybody's tongue, but also has like some room to mine for something from a different angle, perhaps. I think is what they're asking more. So
You got Buck Rogers could do that. Another sci-fi property. Could probably do like Space 1999. Just change the year to. I mean, granted, they've been trying to reboot that series.
Police Academy.
Police Academy, yeah.
Yeah, even though there's no villains or whatever, but yeah, there's different ways you could.
No, the cops would be the villains now.
Yeah, that would be the new Police Academy. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There you have the new academy, and then of course you're going to have the descendants of Harris, for instance. Like he was kind of a villain, wasn't he? So yeah, you could do wonders by Cobra Kai.
He's still alive, I think.
Police Academy.
G.W. Bailey's still alive, I think.
Yeah, there you go. You could do wonders with that.
There's a few of the cast members still alive, but yeah, we've said that before. You just basically bring back
Cocoon.
Steve Guttenberg. Yeah, Cocoon.
Alienation.
Alienation.
Yeah.
That was dope. I love the Alienation.
Yeah, you could Cobra Kai Alienation. That would be amazing.
Yeah, there's quite a few great franchises.
Yeah. Everything can be Cobra Kai'd, because what Cobra Kai is really, it's just building upon what's already there, maybe switching a few things around, keeping it fresh, but always doing it respecting the legacy. And that way, you're good to go. You can do it to anything.
I think it'd be hard if they're going to use the original cast with Alienation, because Mandy Patinkin is like the most woke ever now. So I don't know. Well, James Caan might be able to even him out, but
you could Alienation the TV series. I mean, you've done a recasting one already, so yeah.
There was a TV series for a while, so yeah, they could reboot that.
Yeah, you have a series there, so yeah, there's loads of things that you can do that with, and you could do it with great success. So absolutely, and just moving on from there a little bit, M Tax Shark sent us a thumbs up. Super secure. Roger Haynes says, I like how Johnny never used the internet. So he's basically been shielded from a lot of wokeism. Yeah, so true. Ken Fu says, what's amazing is that Johnny, Danny, and Cecil are in their 50s. Yeah, you'd never think.
Yeah.
And Stone Gasman says for $10, thank you so much. Last Jedi and Cobra Kai are in completely different galaxies. Screw any comparisons. Also, Daniel was protagonist and Johnny was antagonist, or vice versa to some, but latter wasn't the villain. That was Kreese. Yeah, so true.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah, like I was saying, like she fundamentally does not understand the dichotomy, or she's really just stretching to try and convolute or conflate.
She just has to defend The Last Jedi. That's all.
I don't think she watched it.
No, she does go through certain aspects of it, but I think you're right, Anna.
But it's a Google search. It's like
yeah,
everything that she used for that article was something that you could have gotten from another article. Like, oh, here's like the top 10 things that happened in Cobra Kai season 3. These are the characters. These are plot lines. I don't think she watched it.
No, probably she didn't.
Well, and
probably she. She probably read the synopsis and skimmed an episode or two, and beyond that, she would probably just decide, "Oh, I'm gonna do one for that and score some brownie points," and that's what that whole article was all about: finding some way to strike out at something and be popular, like straight out of cult school.
Well, no, and I'm glad this is the one, the tweet you were talking about earlier, Anna, and you sent it to me, but I didn't see it till now. But no, I think this goes and shows exactly what I was saying, Andre, is that this has been an agenda that other people have been pushing for a while. Like, this is not just this Lisa person. This is an active campaign.
Oh yeah, absolutely it is. It
started with that LA Times, and it started with that damn LA Times article. That's why I'm not so sure that one was as innocent as you think it was, or however you want to put it, with in the conversation we had. But I really do feel like this is something that's coming from whoever it is that decides these things.
I still think that article was a preliminary defense because they knew this would be coming.
Well, this was already coming before that article. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, that's what I think that article was.
I don't think it was anything. Yeah. Oh, here's the thing. Okay, so everybody wants to know. Andre feels like the LA Times article is coming from the people behind Cobra Kai, and it's more of a defense or trying to get ahead of this. I say it's too late. This shit's already happening. I think the LA Times article is just something that's fueled the fire because that's all it's done. So if they were behind it, then it was a really stupid move.
That could be, but still, I think that the Cobra Kai was spoken very highly of and got
so has all these other articles in that article. And like I said before, that was my point, not to argue with it like right now, but that's my whole thing is they know it's too good to say anything shit about it. That's why they're trying to compare it to The Last Jedi. They're trying so desperately to make people see the fault in it in some way, so that when they fix it, that we thank them for fixing it. That's what it is. I really don't think that the people behind Cobra Kai really give as much of a shit as you think they do, because a lot of the stuff that I've seen out of them is just the straightforward,
What you mean, the people that make the show or the people writing about the show?
Yeah. See, here's the thing, and
which one?
The people behind Cobra Kai.
The people making it?
Yeah, because you'll have these articles that come out like this sometimes, and Andre's right. Either there's somebody within that company said, hey, if you do us this solid and do this article about this said show and this said thing, then we'll give you this access to this or what have you. Or it's like some kind of leak or whatever.
Yeah, typically they'll even write the article for them and just have them punch them up a little bit. You see this all the time. They're quite easily spottable.
But I don't see a lot of those things in this article, Andre. I do understand where you're coming from because there is a lot of quotes from them, but they also just came off of the press junket. And the press junket was all done within a matter of a couple of weeks, and that's where a lot of these quotes are coming from. And I think what Anna's tweet is proving, in my opinion, is that this whole thing has been an active campaign from the start against the show that has nothing to do with anybody behind the show. And I think it's just a bunch of pressure that's piling on the people that are making the show to change it. And I know some people in the chat have already said, "Oh, I'm not worried. The producers are confident in themselves and all this kind of thing." Yeah, they are to a point, probably. But Netflix, on the other hand, if
Yeah.
they feel the pressure,
That's
they're
the
going to
scary thing. Netflix could very well mandate like the for season 4 we need to do this and this and this
Well,
differently.
you know what I think? I think that the guys that make it are very aware of the times, and they're just hardcore Karate Kid fans. And I think that they were smart enough to write a very good contract because, I mean, who's touching their mic? Is that you, Cecil?
No.
No, I think Script Doctor accidentally bumped it.
But I think that they were smart enough to get a good contract where they said, you know, this, and this is happening. You can't change it, or, you know, we're going to, you know, not do the show with you. We'll move somewhere else. I think something like that happened because.
Well, let's hope.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, they always look for what is popular to destroy. So now it's got their attention, so
That's
in
what
a
I'm
big
saying.
way. And now the pressure is going to be on them. The pressure. Can you just put this in? Can you have a non-binary? Can you have this person with pronouns? Can you have this person who is trans? Can you have this person? Like, can you just shoehorn this in a way that's going to make the audience go, "What the fuck is going on?" And they're out in Hollywood and they want to get along with everybody, and that pressure works. And if you have your boss in the studio and everybody saying, "Hey, you need to get this in, work it in," and but I mean, people know it when your brain picks up propaganda so quickly, and it's like it's you just get a zap when you're like, "Oh, there it goes, they're fucking jamming something down my throat." So hopefully they can fight it off, because I don't think they realize that the reason for this popularity is because people are getting away from that, and they're just happy to have something that's not preaching to them.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then here's the thing: if they straight up come out and say, "Oh, well, it's a white dude and this, and this," which I think I saw a little bit that they were complaining there's not enough Asians in the show about karate, but because the show's so good, people, you know, everywhere defending it, so they have to do whatever they can to criticize it. So they're trying to make these connections that just aren't there, and so it's an extremely desperate ploy, and I don't think it's working, but I mean, it just shows how desperate they are to try.
Yeah, they'll try
How
anything.
could there not be enough Asians? They did 2 episodes in Vietnam.
You mean Okinawa?
Yeah, no.
Well, he's not
We
wrong.
also did 2 episodes in Okinawa.
But no, like that's the thing, is that's what I found most, I guess, hilarious about this whole, like, there's not enough Asian representation in the karate show, is that this season specifically had probably the most Asian representation of all, which is a real blanketed statement anyway, because that's the other thing, is that I love that they're basically using the word Asian instead of, and don't anybody freak out for me saying this, because I looked it up, and last I know they don't necessarily consider it racist, but they're trying to use the word Asian instead of Oriental, I believe, is what they're trying to use.
Is that bad? You cannot say that word. Is
There are
Oriental
some people
bad?
who think that Oriental is bad, but most people from over there are just like, huh? Because I looked it up. I literally looked it because I thought about using it. There was a passage that was going to end up using it in the documentary that ended up getting axed anyway. So I looked it up just to make sure it wasn't fucking racist.
That's
No, it's
unbelievable.
not.
I very much doubt anyone from the Orient are among the ones that have decided to take offense to the word
No. It's
Oriental.
clearly this SJW Karen bullshit.
No, it is. I mean, my mom's really old though, but my mom refers to any Asian as Oriental. And I remember my best friend in college was Korean, and you know, she came over and she met my mom, and my mom's like, "Oh, like this is your Oriental friend," you know, being a mom, and she was like, oh, "I've never been called that." She's like, "I like that. I like that so much better than being called Asian."
Yeah,
So Asians like being called Oriental.
Well, yeah, because Asian covers a lot more than just quote unquote the Orient, which is generally what they're referring to when they say it, which is, to me, shows how stupid and racist they really are.
Asia is big. I mean, that covers everything from Russia to Southeast Asia, meaning India and Pakistan, to Japan. Like all of those things, completely diverse things, is a million times more diverse than Europe, for instance. So, like, the term Asian doesn't really mean anything, because it's too much diversity within it.
Oh yeah, you know what would be funny is if like you know, if there's a Russian person, they're like, "Oh, you're white," and they'd be like, "No, I'm not. I'm Asian." Technically,
Exactly. There you go. And most of Russia is actually in Asia. Most of the Russian people are in Europe, but most of the country is in Asia.
Yeah. So again, like I digress. It just goes to show their ignorance on top of their own racism when they try to act like they're the ones who are in the right. It makes me laugh. And again, anyway, we got more super chats to do, Andre. So
yes, we do. Moving on with the Cobra Kai super chats before we get back to Star Wars. Roger Haynes wonders, do you think Cobra Kai will take it to the next level and actually kill somebody off?
I do. And not to get into spoilers because Andre hasn't seen it yet, but I've noticed one thing in these 3 seasons of Cobra Kai. Nothing is set up for nothing. Everything is paid off one way or another. It may not ever pay off the way you think it's going to pay off, but the point wasn't brought up for nothing. I'm not going to bring up specifics, but those who've seen the show know what I'm saying.
Well, last season, listen, they already did it. Not only did they kill a character, they killed the guy in real life too.
Well, sadly, that is true, Cecil.
I mean,
Andre hasn't got to that episode yet, but
yeah. Looking forward to it now.
It doesn't. It's the way Cecil made it sound is a lot worse than it really is.
Yeah, no. Like the actor just died, but it's not so bad. It's not worse than it sounds.
They knew he wasn't. They knew he wasn't long for this world when he did the episode, so I'm sure that's what played into the whole point.
Yeah.
But
it's nice when they do that. Give someone that they know so it will no longer be with us a proper send off. So,
yeah. The only one who didn't get any proper payment to their well, they did get mentioned, and that would be Steve McQueen's kid, because he's in prison or whatever. That's why he's not in the show. So they say his character is in prison. So.
I don't want to ruin a joke, but I really love the fact that they put him in a body bag.
Well, yeah, I think that was his idea too. Or like he was totally on board for that. What were you going to say, Anna?
I don't know.
Oh, you were going to say something before Cecil popped in there. But...
I think it was just like a snide remark about the thing, but like humorous.
Oh, yeah.
Moving on from there, Mandalore the Great says, the fact that people compare the two, that would be Cobra Kai and The Last Jedi, is laughable. It is indeed. Alpha J, the third, or Alpha J30, I should say, says, there's an upcoming documentary on Pat Morita called More Than Miyagi. You guys have to check it out. I saw the trailer and it was really good.
It looks amazing. Sadly, it's on fucking Apple TV, I believe. But yeah, I saw the preview for that a while back, and then it's been popping up more so lately now again with Cobra Kai being in the news and everything. But yeah, that looks really, 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 really interesting, and it gets into a lot of the things I wanted to get into in that retrospective, but we just didn't have the time for it. And just the shit that Pat Morita had to deal with in his life is crazy. Just the short version, like just for an idea of what he had to deal with. From the time he was born till the time he was 9, he was in a cast from the chest down because he had issues. Pat Morita, the guy who played Mr. Miyagi. And then the moment he got out of the cast when he was 9, he walked out of the hospital and was escorted to an internment camp.
Why was he in a cast? Like, I understand the internment camp.
I can't remember he had some disease, and I can't remember what it was that he had, but he had to go through like a shitload of surgeries and all this stuff. And it wasn't until by the age of 9 they finally got him fixed. It was something to do with his spine, I believe, or something.
Oh, like I can't remember or something like that, maybe.
Maybe that was what it was. Yeah, it's some word I can't remember exactly, but yeah, there's plenty of interviews out there where he talks about it. But like, he had a real rough childhood, and he drew a lot of inspiration from his childhood when they put it into Miyagi. So yeah.
And then he got that horrible job running that diner in Happy Days.
And then his name wasn't really even Arnold. He just bought the place and the name was on there. So everybody just started calling him Arnold.
Hey, you love it, but hey, Asian man running his own business in the 50s in the Midwest. I mean, that's pretty revolutionary. That's pretty progressive.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Moving on from there, Mr. Tickle Drunk says that The Simpsons only got 20 million at its peak. So if Cobra Kai got 40, and that's quite something. And then we got super stickers from Dan Renton and from Tonnerster3, so thanks so much, plus a $10 Australian super sticker from Brett Cohen, which is awesome. And then Taker610 wonders our thoughts on the Jackie Chan / Jaden Smith Karate Kid. Cecil, have you seen that one, and what do you think?
I did. It was, unnecessary but watchable. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't great. It was kind of like the original Karate Kid a lot, but it didn't have it was the same kind of fish out of water, but they had them in was it China? Is that where
yeah, he went to China.
That wasn't
China, yeah, the real China this time, actually.
But it was watchable, but it was just nothing that stood out.
Anna?
I mean, I remember I watched it, but all I remember from it is like the rain and the kid like punching a bag. So not the best. Not the best.
Big impact on you.
Script Doctor?
I remember that I went to go see it, but I don't remember the movie.
There you go. And Tom and Rob, I already know where this is going, but let's hear it anyway before I
Rob, have you even seen it? I don't think Rob's seen it.
What haven't I seen?
The Karate Kid remake with the Jackie Chan and
no,
Jaden
I have
Smith
not.
Even though
there you go.
Well, it's because it has no karate in it. It's
I was about to say it should have been called the Kung Fu Kid, if anything.
Again, like I'm more along the lines of I really, really, really enjoyed Jackie Chan's performance. Believe it or not, I was expecting to hate every inch of the film, but he really won me over, and I wish they would have just went more of a different direction. Because again, like going along with what everybody said, if they would have just called it the Kung Fu Kid and in the credits just said, inspired by, Karate Kid and based on the characters, blah, 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 I wouldn't have had so much an issue because they did kind of change the Miyagi character. None of them have the same names really outside of the core concept and the main beats of the story. If they would have just changed some of those things, you could have had a more original story with a similar tone. Because a lot of the things I felt like they did with Jackie Chan's character were really different from Miyagi and worked in a way different. And in fact, I felt like this version is probably what we'd have gotten from the original version had they went with Toshiro Mifune, or how do you say his name? Mifune is his last name though. The one from all the
Toshiro Mifune. Yeah.
Toshiro Mifune. That's how you say it, Mifune. I feel like that's the version of Miyagi we would have gotten if he would have played it instead of Pat Morita originally, just the more darker, more.
I don't think the movie works without Pat Morita being sort of the kind.
Believe it or not, Rob, the best part of that movie is Jackie Chan's character, and it's because they made him so different from Miyagi.
Oh yeah, well yeah, it's like you said, the main story beats are the same, but
yeah, like everything else is the same down to the girl, his girlfriend, and the bullies in the school and the tournament, all that shit. Even him showing up and beating up the bullies and all those beats are still in the same. It's the same. The only difference, instead of them moving to the valley, they're moving to China. That's really the only change.
As for me, everyone now keep in mind, I did not grow up as a fan of the Karate Kid. I saw the original movie when I was a kid. It didn't change my life. It didn't impress me. I saw it. It was, that was all right. And it meant nothing to me. And then I didn't rewatch it or really revisit anything with it until Cobra Kai. And then I became a fan of Cobra Kai. Like, the only stop in between there was the remake. And honestly, I think it's fantastic. I really like that movie. And again, that's because of Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan completely makes that movie. And not just that, but also the emphasis on Kung Fu and everything that Kung Fu does when they go to like the Kung Fu monastery, because they have like the advantage of being in China. So they have like all of these set pieces and everything like that goes with that. So the original Karate Kid, obviously, is the original. It deserves respect for that. This is just a copy and paste. But as far as copy and pastes go, in my personal subjective opinion, and I know I'm going to get flack for this, as good as the original is, as good as the classes, all that, I get more enjoyment from the remake than the original.
Really?
It's just my take. Yeah.
And I'm about to boot Andre from his own chat.
Andre, I want to get your opinion because I'm doing a rewrite on it, a reboot of Karate Kid 2. It's going to be with Sylvester Stallone, where a kid gets beaten up and bullied, and then Stallone saves him, and then he teaches him how to fire a gun, and it's called The Shotgun Kid. And then like the big finale, the big heroes, he goes to school with a gun and just shoots everybody up.
Does it take place in Columbine?
Yeah, The Shotgun Kid. Yeah.
I think that's too tsunami on that one.
Yeah. Script, what do you think? You said you don't really remember it, didn't you?
No, I have a movie ticket for it, like in a binder somewhere, because I used to collect those when I went. But I just don't remember the film. It was like I don't even remember my reaction to it afterwards. That's that thing. Like it just had no resonance with me. and I still remember like the next Karate Kid 20 years later.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, it was all Jackie Chan. What made that movie was Jackie Chan, and he's very different from Miyagi. I was going to say that Miyagi, like they're completely different characters, and they both make their respective movies. Now, Jaden Smith, let's just say that sometimes it skips a generation. So he's obviously nowhere up there, and you don't have like that father-son dynamic. You don't have any of those things. But you have Jackie Chan doing arguably one of the best things he's done in his career, like performance-wise, the pathos and everything. So in some sense, it's a shame that they didn't take those elements and build a completely different movie around that.
That's what I would say. Yeah.
Because his performance is kind of like wasted on a remake when it should have been something original. Kind of like that whole like elevator thing through Earth in the Total Recall remake. It was a concept that was too good to waste on a remake. And it's like the same thing here. It's so good because of Jackie Chan and the whole Kung Fu thing that I really enjoy that movie more than I really should, because the rest of it really isn't up to snuff. It's just that.
Slick Rick in the chat made a fat joke at my expense. He said that I'm going to be in the remake of the Sumo Kid. but actually, if they were remaking this series today with like the obesity epidemic, and it would be pretty funny if they did, like kids getting bullied and a sumo guy teaches them how to fucking kick out a
well, and that's the thing. Karate Kid's been parodied so many times and ripped off. I mean, geez, beyond the remake, there's been how many rip-offs of the original Karate Kid? There was like at least a handful of them after the first movie came out. Most famously, probably the one with Chuck Norris called Sidekicks.
Oh, with Jonathan Landis?
Yeah.
Jonathan Brandis. Sorry,
yeah.
Brandis.
Yeah, and on that note, just to put it up right away, Michael Roth, he sees what I'm talking about. I remember I enjoyed it when Jackie Chan was on screen and thought it dragged when he wasn't. Yeah, this is true. Luckily, he's on screen most of the movie, because all the whole thing was Will Smith's vehicle to make his son a star.
Which,
good luck with that. But the only thing that actually happened was that it emphasized how good Jackie Chan really is.
Well, Ralph Macchio is not like, obviously, I wouldn't put him up there with like the greatest of the great actors of all time, but he could act circles around Jaden. I'm sorry.
But it's Jackie Chan is like one of those rare people that's just made of pure charisma. Like, you can't help but like the guy as soon as you see him.
Well, no, but Andre's right. Like, this was a performance, and I can't take that away from him in this performance. That's the one thing that stands out to me and is memorable. Bless you, Anna. And like, his story, I really did kind of latch onto. I really thought it was really enduring, or however word you want to put in there, with the whole idea of with the car and what it represented and how it was worked into the story. Like, that made me feel like, okay, now you're getting the idea of what the original Karate Kid is, as opposed to the scenes where he's like, take your jacket off, put it on the ground, pick it up. All that crap was just like, okay, you're trying to do wax on, wax off, and it's not working.
Yeah, that was lame.
Yeah, because wax on,
something
wax
bad
on
with it,
only works because the first time you see that movie, and I seen Mega Jetty send a super chat, and I had to explain this to him in our Cobra Kai discussion, is the only reason that worked in the original film was that was the moment that nobody knew was coming. Like, unless you really, really were paying that much attention, like for a bit there, you're like, oh, this guy's just using him as a slave, you know? And then you realize, oh shit, he's been teaching him karate this whole time. You know, like that's the payoff, you know, and yeah.
That light bulb goes off. Oh, wow. Now I get it. Yeah. So, yeah.
Teaching him muscle memory. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just, well, when you repeat those, it makes sense. When you repeat the motions enough times, it becomes instinctive.
Well, and that was the whole point. Like when Mark Robert came and wrote it, he you know, took lessons that he learned, and that was the whole thing. And that's specifically why Miyagi wouldn't let him just paint a fence like you would. It's up and down, big
Up and down, bend the knees.
Yeah, it was all important about how he was doing it. That was the big thing. Yeah.
Yeah, the Sanders too. When we do back and forth, no, you'll do a circle.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. And moving on from there, Connor Fuller says, I've watched this show with my 11-year-old daughter, and she's hooked.
Good.
They've crossed the generation gap successfully and kept it relevant. See,
Absolutely.
everything should be Cobra Kai. That's how you do it.
Well, and to go back to, and that actually goes with Jeffrey's super chats. We'll grab that right now. And I've seen so many comments like this, and this is what I love, is how many people were brought to Karate Kid, like Jeff, through Cobra Kai. Like, that's what it needs to do. Andre's right. Like, that, it doesn't, not necessarily take the idea and the concept and rip it off, but the whole idea of if you pay homage to the past and bring in the new characters properly, you can bring in new fans with the new property like this. It is possible.
By the way, speaking about that muscle memory scene, Klaatu Barada and Niktu in the chat just wrote that a good Johnny scene when he asked Miguel to wash the window, and he's like, and Miguel said, hey Sensei, is there any way you want me to wash these windows? And do you want me to wash these windows in any particular way? And Johnny's like, nah, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, that's what I love is all the little Easter eggs. Like, you could go, and I know there's plenty of videos out there, but I mean, just within the third season alone, there's probably a half a dozen or better. Just, I'm sure I've missed more than that. But like,
I bet you burst out laughing when Danny, when Robbie dislocated his shoulder and Danny smacks his hands together and then rubs them, and then you're like, oh no, and then he's like medic, and then yeah,
I knew that was coming. I kind of knew it, but it was funny when it happened.
Yeah, that was pretty hilarious.
And then this last season, my favorite one was the spaghetti incident. But yeah, anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, do a couple of more super chats, and we can get on with the discussion. Because we have Ed Rojas, who says, love the show and panel. You guys are the best. That was woke galore all around. Probably in reference to the Star Wars comment. On that note, Antonio Cardenas says, let the hate flow, Rob. Be one with the dark side.
Yeah, now we're getting to the Star Wars comments.
Yeah, and Josh McAdams says for $10, thank you so much. More Rob meltdowns, please. Yeah,
well, if you enjoy Rob's rants,
it's not good for me though.
I was going to say, if you enjoy Rob's rants, I try to give him an aneurysm or a heart attack. I try to make him do at least one a month, but he hasn't done one, I think, for a while yet. But we do have several Rob's rants over on Midnight's Edge After Dark, if you enjoyed that.
Yeah, do check that out. And Patrick Mulligan says, I had the honor of meeting the man who the Karate Kid was inspired by. Look up this article. Don Angier, so sorry, jiu-jitsu, please, not judo. So yeah, Tom will have to look that up.
I wish I had known that before, though.
Yeah. And Nova Zero sends us for 50 Australian dollars. Thank you so much. That really keeps the light on, and we appreciate that because it's darker in Norway this time here. So yeah, I mean, what the F? I quit Star Wars. My childhood, like many, was just diddled by Hollywood. I did not like it. Go away. Get fired. Alt plus F4. And get out now. Defenestrate yourself from the top of your flipping ivory tower. Excuse me. No, Share your feelings.
No
Share your
excuses.
feelings loud and clear so they hear you. That's what has to be done. And Michael Strelitz says, SJ worlds are the new Arkhole crybabies bubble worlds. So yeah, there's many people there that feel the same way. And Master Clockwork says, MF, it's Star Wars. They're all aliens. There's no such thing as a POC. Also,
Right.
humans are the majority. Insisting a character is a human is kind of racist.
Honestly, it is in Star Wars because that was the whole thing that the closer you are to the core worlds, the more humans there are. And as you go on the outer rim, there's more and more aliens. And I mean, the Emperor like hated aliens. That's why Grand Admiral Thrawn was the only alien that made it to, Admiral and Grand Admiral. So that's the thing in Star Wars is that aliens, they were looked down upon as like lesser beings than humans.
Hey, I want more gelatinous invertebrate representation in Star Wars, okay?
Go
Careful with what you ask for.
The writers don't know about that.
Yeah, you're kind of getting that with the Hutts. We still got to find out. Did Ethan ever find out if Jabba had a skeleton or not?
He's still waiting on Pablo's reply.
No, that'll be interesting.
Well, inquiring minds want to know.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Tickle Trunk also said, I wish Rob would go full Sam Kinison more often.
No.
Again, check out Rob's rants. He's got a collection of them over on Midnight's Edge After Dark.
Yeah, and moving on from there, Fox D1E says, I wouldn't be surprised if years after all this, we find out these politicians have pulled a massive number of things beginning with F, a la the producers kind of scheme. Fails on purpose. Well, time will tell, won't it?
It's funny you bring that up because I've had a couple interesting discussions about Solo with a few people because we found out, and from somebody who worked on the movie, and if you've caught any of the chats we've talked about it, you could probably figure out who told us this, but we heard they shot for 88 days before they got rid of Lord and Miller. And if anybody knows, 88 days is long enough to shoot almost 2 movies.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was starting to think like, okay, they only report X amount that this movie cost, and there's no way it's that cheap. So a lot of people agree with me that the reason KK probably let it go on that long is because then the insurance probably kicks in if they have to replace a director or something like that.
That could very well be, yeah.
Okay, not to derail this, but I don't get the fixation on Lord and Miller. I don't think they're that good.
They are good. I would actually on Rob. I'm very interested in seeing what they would have done. I don't think you've watched 21 and 22 Jump Street though, Rob. That's the problem. You've only seen Spider.
They are really good. They absolutely are.
They used
before we derail anything with that, I'm going to get through this final super chats here that are for Cecil, and then we can derail away afterwards. First off, Roger Haynes sent us a thumbs up, so thanks for that. Spider Unlimited, he says for $9.99, thank you. I'm in New York. Going to pick up a bottle of Lagavulin, and we're going to hit that baby Cecil. And Jared Wagner says, Outervention. Please start drinking. You're a better person when you do. Can't you see how your sobriety is hurting those around you?
I love that Outervention.
Thank you. Amen to that. God damn it, Cecil.
It's very selfish of me. I'm sorry. How my sobriety is affecting those around me, I guess everything.
And Adrian Barrera sent us 2 subsequent ones. First one, he says, all work and no booze makes Cecil a very full boy. And then he says, I meant dull. Ducking autocorrect. So yeah, it makes you a very dull boy. So there you have it. But there's more. There's more. Matt G says, Cecil, where are we on Cash Grab? Did we reach the goal? Were you drink for one night only tomorrow night?
Let me see. 32 backers away from me.
Oh my God, guys, please. There's over 1,000 people. Please go back, Cash Grab. I'm begging you. I can't deal with this for 4+ hours tomorrow night.
We need 32 more people to back Cecil to get him drunk again, to make him break his vows. So, yeah. And Matt G also wonders, when are we going to talk about Pizzagate? And he asks you that, Cecil. So when are you going to talk about Pizzagate?
Never.
Yeah, I would hope not.
What is Pizzagate?
He's
it's
referencing a I don't know if you guys are familiar with Camel Moon. He takes clips of like the Jack Show and shows, and he makes a cartoon of just like, you know, non sequiturs. It's very strange, but he does an incredible job with it. And last episode was Ethan saying, "So when are we going to talk about Pizzagate?" You know, and so that's what he's quoting. Thank you.
There you go. And with that, let's get back to detracting and getting back to the topic at hand. I believe we were at Star Wars and all the shenanigans with that. But Cecil, we haven't had you on since the Woke Republic. Woke Republic. that was something right there. The High Republic, since the High Republic came on. So for those that haven't seen your take on that already, what do you feel of the new characters and stories that we'll be getting in the High Republic, like Leo Gaius, who is like an anagram of Leo the 10th was gay or whatever, and that slob Black Betty Man Bamaram or whatever.
You mean, do I like gay Matthew McConaughey Han Solo?
Yeah, exactly.
And fat Eskimo girl who I found out actually is a guy.
Yeah, everyone is surprised by that.
I mean, I love it. Obviously, it looks great. I'm in. I'm all in.
I never thought in a million years I could misgender a cartoon.
And we all did it. Like that was my first thought too. It was like when I was like, "What? That's a dude."
Isn't there like one image of a person with half their head shaved off, but they also have a goatee or like a soul patch on their chin?
Yeah, there's like the
no, that's not Star Wars. That's Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, well, then there was another one. Yeah.
Like Kiev. Sorry.
Go ahead. No. Go ahead.
Oh no, just so that character from Magic the Gathering, the one with like the soul patch. So the High Republic has this basically the same character, and that was the one that was in the comic. Her name's Kiev, but it's like they look exactly the same except Kiev doesn't have a soul patch.
But they gave the soul patch to the female version of it in Star Wars.
Yeah, I was looking for your
No. The soul patch one is Magic the Gathering. The non-soul patch one is Star Wars.
Okay.
Yeah, Mecca did this little or retweeted this little collage that Demon Synthwave did that has all these.
So yeah, they are the far. That's the magic one. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Interesting how they all look so similar, though, huh?
I mean, the that one does look like from the failed New Warriors. The cat. That's why I thought it was a girl. I don't remember the what's the name? Daniel Kibblesmith's New Warriors thing that was announced.
Oh yeah. The Trailblazer.
Yeah, it had that same. As I was looking at it, I just got the exact same vibe as you just start laughing. You have a big smile on your face as you're scrolling through the characters. You're like, give me a fucking break. But yeah, it was the same feeling. It's more woke bullshit that nobody asked for, no one's going to buy. The people who are cheering it on like the idea of it, but they're not actually going to buy it or read it or consume it in any way. They just will cheer on the idea of it because they're for it, but not enough to drop a dime on it.
And look at those I just can't get over those characters. Like
so Ram Jamoram is a male character.
Yeah. How surprising is that? Because now I'm used to it, but I never get.
It looks like he's judging in the other picture. Go one back. It looks like he's judging his outfit. Are you wearing that vest with those boots?
Just.
I have to go back to the previous picture because I have to ask, guys, those of you that are native to the English language, how do you pronounce that? Because to me that's Leox Gayasi.
That's how we've been pronouncing it. Or we've been just calling Leo the gay.
What is that? GYAXI? Because
No, there's no. It's Leo, and then you have the X, so it's like Leox, I guess.
It's either Leox
and then
or
it's
the X is
GYASI. So
Do you guys saw Echo Base Networks who solved what that means?
yeah.
It might be in their very twisted kind of like in their very twisted mind. It might be Lex. It very well because like the spelling of Jeff GEOFF. So this might even be Lex. Who knows? Who knows what the hell they're thinking?
Is this kind of like when you have Saint John and it's pronounced Sinjin from some weird reason?
I think you could also move the letters around to write gay oily sex.
We should have thought of that.
Oh, we're doing one for representation right here.
Did you take a shot, Cecil?
No.
Oh my! Ooh, my kind of character.
No, I didn't take a shot. I just stole that from Ethan.
It's his spirit is with us. It's really sounded like that. And Mr. Tree says, like Airwolf. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly where I got it from with Sinjin. I also thought it was like so weird. It's written Saint John, but it's pronounced Sinjin. But I think that that was in a James Bond movie too, like Sinjin Smythe. That rings a bell.
That was in A View to a Kill, yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, the one with Zorin, with exactly.
With Christopher Walken, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
Mr. Bond, nice of you to show up here. You know, it's whatever. Jake does much better Christopher Walken anyway. So, but I still can't believe. I keep saying, imagine this is them actually trying. They're actually trying, and it's this bad.
What's funny? Go ahead.
Imagine if they didn't give a shit. Imagine what would happen.
Well, this is the funny thing about this is I think this is just to keep them busy. That's all this is.
Yeah, I agree with you. They're not letting them near their $200 million blockbusters anymore. They're like, go play with comic books and fucking
novels.
Yeah, we could recycle that when no one buys it.
But do you think like someone said, are they trying in the chat? I'm like, yeah, actually, I do. I think they actually are, and this is what they're capable. This is all they're capable of. Really,
it's just the same thing. Yeah, they literally come up with Rob the same characters. Like they all have the same idea. Like this is the new Warriors. It's the same idea. They have to tick off the boxes. There's got to be a heavy one. There's got to be a gay one. There's got to be this one. It's they don't have any ideas. They all have the same. It's like a group think. And no matter what group of characters you gave them, they were still going to spit out characters that looked exactly like that. Sorry for stepping on you there, Rob.
No, that's fine. I created like a couple different comics. I never found anyone who would draw them, but one of them, the first thing you learn is in writing in script, you'll back me up on this, never base the character on yourself.
Right.
There was a comic book I created. It was called Spectre. It was about a mercenary who was kicked out of the army because he shot a general that was assaulting a girl, and so rather than go to trial and everything come out, they just discharge him. But he would spend most of his days drinking in a bar, and the character was modeled after a friend of mine, Jimmy, big guy, wore leather jackets all the time, big punk rock guy, and who was actually in the military. Because I knew then nobody would want to read a comic book about me, and somehow this has gotten lost on people.
Well, you mean that I am not Starfire and the self-insert there is a bad idea?
I mean, what kind of a weirdo would put himself into his own comic book?
Anna, you were saying something.
I forgot.
Back cash grab.
I said something about no one wanted to read a comic book about me, and then you were ready to say something.
I don't remember.
Oh, well. just insult me. That's what most people.
Well, do. No, I'm sorry for mind. This right now it's like nighttime bet
Yeah,
you buy
this is like 2 a.m. for Anna right now.
Yeah. So
Well,
if
if
I
you have
forget, that's why.
to say, if you have to check out, just let us know. But I'm sure we'll be rounding out here pretty soon either way.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I'll hang in.
Okay. Did we get any more super chats in the meantime here?
Yes, we did. We have a couple of more super chats to run through. Because Andrew Pitko says, any Dark Horse Star Wars comic could beat up the High Republic for
Right.
its lunch money.
No
Oh,
shit.
absolutely.
Probably even
Yeah.
the worst of the bunch.
Yeah,
The
I'd
worst.
love to see Tag and Bink take on the High Republic. They beat the crap out of them.
Yeah,
Did
where's
he?
the maker of Tag and Bink now? And he used to pop in our chats all the time.
Yeah, where is he now? I haven't seen him for a while.
Did anybody ever read was it Rogue Squadron in Service of the Empire? That was actually a really good storyline.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
That was really great. There are many good things in Dark Horse comics. Dark Horse generally did amazing for most things. Too bad that they've been stripped of almost all of their licenses. But,
Now we get
the classics.
Now we get Ram Jamaram.
Speaking
Yeah.
of stripping of licenses, I seen you tweet about this, Anna, but somebody wanted us to mention the whole EA, Disney, or Star Wars license.
Yeah. So Disney originally, when they bought Lucasfilm, they signed this contract, this 10-year contract where EA was going to be the only one to make video games for Star Wars. And, when they took over Lucasfilm, they basically fired, I think, like almost 200 people from, the games.
LucasArts, yeah.
Yeah, LucasArts. And so, out of what, almost 8 years, they've made Battlefront and Battlefront 2 and Squadrons. Somebody actually did a little compilation picture. Let me see if I can find it of all. Oh, here we go. Perfect. Will you be able to share my screen, Tom?
Yeah.
Here you go. So here you go. All the games made by LucasArts from 2002 to 2008, EA games.
Yeah, that's about right. I think EA took over the BioWare SWTOR though, but yeah, that's pretty much, they've only done those two, right?
These are the games that they made. Obviously, now Squadrons and what's the other one? Jedi Order.
Jedi Fallen Order.
Jedi Fallen Order. But there's also actually a couple of other games. There's probably older games, Grim Fandango, Mercenaries that were published by LucasArts that aren't on there. And like I said,
LucasArts from 2002 to 2008, but I think somebody just made this, so if they forgot something, it is what it is.
Well, yeah, I know.
But that's a pretty good collection, yeah.
Well, it's just funny that when you actually read the article with the people's statements, it's like everyone that's working on these are Star Wars fans, and this is going to be a way to tell all of these different Star Wars stories that aren't connected to the films and movies. And that's what it says. It's so that way we're not limited by the films and movies. So we're going to, outsource all of these games. So if you want to, make a game, basically you can. Obviously, you got to pay stuff. But I just thought it was funny. I'm like, they still have 2 years on the contract. And now Disney, they're feeling it since Disneyland and, a lot of the parks are closed. Now they don't have that crutch of, that constant money maker. So they're like, nope, you're losing us money, EA. We're going to go elsewhere.
Wow. That's awesome.
And then article so you can read it. It's great.
I'm actually send that to Rob because I know he's been kind of keeping up with the Indiana Jones game and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. Funnily enough, our lovely wrench Natasha Cloutier sent me who originally made that little cartoon I showed earlier. Or I'll show it again here just so people know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I just actually, Demon Scythe, I think, just sent it to me on Twitter.
Yeah, and the funny thing, and I really want to tell this because you want to know the funny thing, I just figured out where I think this came from. Ironically enough, I'm using it, but the person who created it, the pink people, are to signify the gay community. So this whole comic was made in representation of people coming in and taking over the gay community. Isn't that ironic?
Well, no, that's true. So when I lived in San Francisco, it's like, the gay part of San Francisco is the Castro. And so, there'd occasionally be straight people over there. But now, and even Pride, it's not even a lot of gay people that do it now. It's literally everyone else that thinks it's trendy. Like you see all of these teenagers that are obviously straight, or, you know, they're saying that they're experimenting, but it's like, it's not even gay pride anymore. It's just a reason for people to come and party. And so, you know, I have a lot of friends in the gay community and they don't like it. So, you know, you have to go to a different part of San Francisco to actually celebrate, you know, the actual gay pride, because the official gay pride of the city, it's not even gay. It's mostly straight people.
Well, I think it's kind of funny that I appropriated it and other people have for this very reason, because it, I think it's very representative of what this whole problem is. Because I've talked to quite a few like gay people and black people and other people who feel the same way. It's like, it's a bunch of white Karens that are appropriating their cause. It's like, don't make me a victim. I don't want to be a victim. You know, it's like, and then I see this and I traced it back. And thank you, Natasha, for tracing that back to the origin. It actually took me a second to figure out what I was looking at. And then I realized it and it clicked. And I was like, oh, how ironic.
Ah, there you go. That's cultural appropriation right there. If that is not, then I don't know what is.
Exactly. And again, I think it really speaks to the fact that a lot of people in these groups that these SJWs are trying to represent don't want them to, and they want them to get the fuck out.
Well, no, they fuck it up. It's honestly like, remember that clip from the John Campea show where he's like, oh yeah, there's going to be the show that's female centric. And then the woman on his show was like, I don't like that. Women are just props and we're not actually characters. Give us something good. Don't just have a show to have your token women. Yeah. And it's funny, John Campea was all for it. Then the second she said that, he's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, she caught him off guard for sure.
Has she been back on that show since?
I don't think so.
Well, I got to say though, and putting that screen of the Star Wars games, it just made me run over to Steam and want to buy like the old Battlefront games. Jeez, see, so, God, what happened? What happened?
But I know what did happen. We did get a few more super chats, right, Andre?
That we did indeed. Next one is, and this is a sobering one. That Nobody guy says, if you look at Netflix's track record history turning popularized shows woke, it is their favorite thing to do. Cobra Kai is not safe.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. And double sober, Cecil, I don't know if I can handle that.
No. And Noxu Cow says, YouTube censors the word you are talking about. Which one? That's promising. Well,
yeah, there's a whole list of words.
Exactly.
Probably
so many words and so many topics that we really have to self-censor. Otherwise, our channel will be taken down.
I think I know
the O word, probably.
Well, I think it was when Anna said that name of that person that shouldn't be named.
What name did I say?
I thought you
said,
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, the one of whom we must not speak. Let's go with that.
I didn't know that. Sorry.
Yeah, there are a number of people, and obviously he's not among them. But
I think I know of at least two things that were brought up that we probably or it's being referred to.
Yeah, I hope it wasn't censored live as we were saying it. But yeah.
No, I don't think so. People are chatting. We're still here, so we're good.
Yeah, we haven't been struck down, and we have.
You know what? And I don't want to knock on wood. It's been a while since that's happened. Bless you again, Anna.
Thank you.
She's allergic to this bullshit. When are you guys on with Critical Thinker? I don't think we've ever been on with Critical Thinker. Is there a Critical Thinker? Unless you mean Critical Drinker. I'm actually going to be on this afternoon with a Critical Drinker.
Oh, what movie are you talking about?
He contacted me, unsurprisingly, over Cobra Kai. So we're going to talk about Cobra Kai and stuff, I guess.
Oh, fun. Have fun.
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised by that. So there you go.
Yeah. And that, I believe, is in 1.5 hours from now.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah. So do check out the Critical Drinker.
Let me guess, he asked you first, and you said, I'm not the Cobra Kai guy. Talk to Tom. Just kidding.
Yeah. No, actually, he didn't. I think he knew that right away, that you are the Cobra guy more so than me.
Yeah. Soyman the Sorcerer says, Cobra Kai, what's that? Oh, don't get us started. If you don't know what Cobra Kai is, check out our latest documentary on Midnight's Edge.
Absolutely, do check that out. And then moving on from there, Master Clockwork says, you'd think it's writing 101. You don't put blatant modern politics in a fictional setting. You make allegory, otherwise the world feels fake. Indeed, but not everyone has figured that out, it would seem. Certainly not the ones writing for Star Wars these days. And Connor Doherty says, EA's exclusivity with Star Wars games has ended. Rejoice. And Cultured Casino sends us Unicorn Super Sticker, so thanks for that. And Blue Satoshi says, Cecil, don't call it Shotgun Kid. It's gotta be Pumped Up Kicks. LMAO.
I'll have theme music and everything. Yeah, I might have to make that a comic. Maybe and then like after just have like extremely graphic, like exploding head scenes, and then like, you know, just in a bizarre world, all the kids are carrying him on their shoulders as a hero for killing all the bullies.
Like the teachers are helping.
Yeah, they're all happy. He's the hero.
This is like the Cecil origin
He's coming
story.
out of his shell.
And Jeffrey Turner says, was late to the KK party, but arrived in time for CK, meaning Cobra Kai, indeed.
Yes, that's what I was referring to earlier. And I'm glad to see that. I love seeing people brought onto the classic franchise through the show. It's really heartwarming.
Yeah. And Wild Man Beyond sends us 2 $5 super chats back to back. So thanks for that. Love how Robbie became the Anakin of the franchise. Before continuing, I haven't seen Mandalorian, but it seems to take note from Cobra Kai by respecting the source material and expanding it. Indeed, well, that's a secret to its success. I would certainly.
I don't think one had anything to do with the other, but yeah, I mean,
no, of course not. But
yeah.
They're doing the same thing. It's the same successful recipe.
Yeah, I agree there. Yeah.
And Tamas Egied sent us a donation with no message, but thanks for the support. We really appreciate that. And Andrew Pitko says, these ugly character designs and poor story structure reminds me of the idiocy that is Steven Universe. I have no idea what that is, but I'm sure it's idiotic.
I'm aware of it, but I've never watched it yet.
Terrible cartoon that looks exactly like it's the same style as Rick and Morty, as that stupid Star Trek show that we don't talk about.
And that still has no international distribution, I might add.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, didn't it get plopped on some Netflixes in a few places?
Did it? Maybe it did.
In the UK and Germany, I think.
Yeah, just a couple.
Yeah, the places where they actually carry
probably because they got it for an ultra discount.
They probably got it for free, like the short treks.
Yeah. Steven Universe is more of the Cal Arts, the bean face, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. My
And,
kid used to watch it.
Yeah. And Thunderstorm says, High Republic game. Plant a flower garden. Well, Borgporg says, Cecil, tell them about Witten's YouTube channel.
Yeah, Witten is a friend of the Jack Show. She's a bit of a wild child, and she just started a channel. So if anybody wants to check it out, Annie, do you know the name of it?
It's Bonnie Darko, and then end of Darko is a 0, not an O.
Yeah, her real name is Bonnie, and she did legally change it to Darko. So her name is Bonnie Darko.
Interesting. Check that out then.
Is this like Cecil's girlfriend? Like
No.
No, she's just an interesting character that we have on the Jack Show every now and again to check her updates on life. But the biggest update I'm concerned about, how close is Cash Grab to the goal? Check it, Cecil.
Yeah, let's see. We're trying to push it.
Hasn't moved. All right, good.
Come on, people. Back Cash Grab.
Yeah, come on. Back him.
Or else I'm calling out sick.
This is the last night you can get Cash Grab, folks. I know Cecil has said this before, but this is it.
He really means it this time.
Act now. Operators are standing by.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you call the number at the bottom of your screen, then you can get your back Cash Grab, and maybe Cecil will come to your house and deliver it.
Yeah.
Is that Jerry Lewis?
Yes. You'll never walk alone.
Why are you folks not helping the children? Get out here and help the children.
And moving on from there, William Sova said
Sorry.
yeah,
By
that's
the
all
way,
right.
sorry, but I just want to, I'm not trying to brag, but we've cured just as many kids as March of Dimes, by the way.
There you go. See?
Indeed, yeah.
With a fraction of the money.
Yeah. And William Sova, I believe, is suggesting that we have to be on BitChute. I think that's what he's trying to say by saying that we need an alternative massage technique. So, yeah, I'm actually working on that right now.
There's a couple. There's BitChute. There's Odyssey now. Whatever.
The problem with that is, though, and I know Andre's brought this up before, is for right now, it makes no sense to jump ship necessarily, and then it just adds to the scatteredness of us. And I understand the need to try and find some alternate forms of putting us out there, but I don't know. I mean, I agreed with your original assessment, Andre, of, you know, not biting the hand that feeds us in so many words and sticking here because we've managed to weather through a lot of crap. And I don't see the point in trying and move someplace new unless they find a platform there's a lot of problems with a lot.
I think it's more a matter of having the alternative already set up.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Suddenly comes, and that's something that we certainly will take under consideration. Not necessarily moving, but having an alternative place to also upload to as well.
Well, the biggest problem is that nothing right now has the same reach as YouTube. That's the problem.
No, and what scares me is look what happened to Parler the moment the powers that be decided, oh, that's a problem. It didn't take them long to take it out.
Well, this has been going on for 6 months or so with Parler.
But that's what I'm saying is the moment let me give you a hypothetical. If let's just say for everything hits the fan and we needed to jump ship somewhere, wherever anybody the most YouTubers jump ship to, they're just going to target that place next. That's what I'm saying. So it's not going to be a safe haven. It's just going to be a new target. And the new target isn't nearly strong enough to handle any kind of, battle like that. That's what I think Parler proved. But anyway, I'm not trying to conflate the two or equate the two in any way, but I do feel like that's something we need to take into consideration as well.
I just think Elon Musk should create his version of YouTube, and he can argue that it's for his partner Grimes and her music.
Yeah, actually,
what? Be the modern day fucking Hearst.
You know what? Awesome. You know what, Anna? Actually, if someone was gonna create a rival to YouTube, it'd probably be Elon Musk.
That's exactly what I was like. I don't know. I watch the guy's interviews all the time because he's a weirdo, but he's super interesting, and so I feel, and he's very like anti-woke. Did you see his tweet last night where he's just like make comedy illegal again?
Yep, I saw that. So what did we call, like Musk Book or something, or Musk Space?
Yeah,
Musk Tube.
I think he could do it, and I mean, who's going to take him down? I mean, he's Elon freaking Musk,
and he left Silicon Valley, didn't he? Isn't he moved? Didn't he move Tesla out of?
Yeah, into Texas.
Well, he lived in L.A. It's weird. He lived in Willy Wonka's house.
Oh, Gene Wilder's, yeah.
Yeah, Willy Wonka.
Willy Wonka.
Mm-hmm.
Too bad.
Anyway, next super chat, Andre?
Yeah, next one. That would be from that nobody guy who says, loved Jedi Fallen Order. The reason it was good is EA was hands-off. Respawn developed it under EA's license. Yeah, that's the video game distribution and production company for you right there. Not everything with the EA logo is actually EA.
Yeah, and that's kind of where LJN got its bad name from, is because instead of actually having any kind of quality control, they would just farm out all their work to all these little places that would do a shit job. So there you
go. Yeah, indeed. And with that, we are actually all caught up.
Awesome. So with that, I want to say everybody check out Anna, That Star Wars Girl. I know you got to check out here. So you got anything coming up that you want to plug real quick?
I have a video coming out at 3, and then I have a stream with Jesse at 3 as well. But also, let me do the math real fast. Numbers and whatnot. I am actually super close to 167,000. I think I am. I don't know. I'm at 966. I can't think today. So I am almost to 167,000. So if you have not subbed to my channel, please go do so. It is growing again. The YouTube algorithm changed, which means good things happen for now.
And Natasha shared your link. So if you haven't checked out Anna's channel already, do so. And with that, we want to thank you as always for popping in. We appreciate it when you get to stop by, and it's always fun to talk to you.
Well, thank you. I love being here. It's fun. It's fun talking about this stuff with you guys.
Awesome. And Cecil, tell them a little bit about what you got coming up besides Cash Grab, and what any other new projects you got coming on your channel, or just streaming?
I have tomorrow night is the Jack Show is being hosted on my channel. That's at 11 o'clock Eastern. That's usually fun. It's definitely NC-17 though. That
of course.
Yes.
Yeah. So tomorrow night I am hosting the Jack Show. Hopefully it's sober, and yeah, back Cash Grab Friday.
And Blue Satoshi sent us in a $10 super chat. Best way to get let me try that again. Best way to get around online censorship, arguably to look into decentralized services like Mastodon, Fediverse, Twitter microblogging, PeerTube video hosting, and IPFS file hosting. Yeah, I mean, we have looked into a lot of these things, and of course this is more Andre's domain and decision, but yeah, like it's definitely something we're taking into consideration, I think. But for now, this is the home for Midnight's Edge, just the same, I think.
Yeah.
And Script Doctor, anything coming up on your agenda?
I just I'm almost finished my deadlines for the writing assignments I got over the holidays. So once that's done, I'll be jumping back onto content creation by rounding out Star Trek Discovery Season 3 reviews and The Mandalorian, the last episode of the Chapter 16 of The Mandalorian review.
And I think you're going to be on something with me this Saturday, I think, on Undoomed.
Saturday, yeah. Saturday, there's something. We're still waiting for that to be.
Too.
You're going to be on there too? Cool.
Yeah, I'm going to be there too.
Oh, that's going to be a great show too.
Yeah, and I think he was trying to get a hold of Andre, but yeah.
Yeah, he have, and I hope that I will be there, but I don't know yet.
I know it's a little late
for
you.
Yeah, it's a matter of time zones and everything. So I will see if I can make it work, but I can't confirm just yet. I need a little bit more time on that, but it's the time is problematic, let's say.
Your usage of problematic wasn't problematic, but I'm just going to think
fine.
It's
fine. The timing is an issue.
I know, I'm just being an ass. And I know this isn't the show for it, but I don't care what anybody said. Sober Cecil gets an Oscar-winning puppy today.
Well, thank you, and thank you guys again for inviting me. I always have a good time.
I think he earned it. Anyway, I want to thank all you guys for listening. You guys get a maximum effort puppy for listening to us today. You guys were a great audience, as you always are.
Oh my god, look at him go! Oh my god! Oh my god, go do it! Oh, you just hopped! Oh my god, I got it! Oh.
Glad it's for all you out there listening. Thank you so much. Don't forget.
By the way, I just reached for a bottle of whiskey while she was doing it.
Should I do it again? I can do one better. We got Sleepy Puppy. We'll really make her explode then.
That's so cute. I never saw the beagle one. That was so cute.
Everybody's like, my ears, mute Anna.
I was sitting pretty far back from my microphone, so
I know. I think
actually, you could probably clip that and have some sort of parallel to Fenton because you got the Anna squeal over the.
I think they're just picking on her. But of course, I want to thank all of our guests again, and I want to thank all of you guys for joining us. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be able to do this. Isn't that right, Andre?
That is indeed right. So we're so grateful for everyone that makes this part of our day, because we can't always trust the algorithm to help promote us. So just mark it in your calendars if you haven't already. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, it's Midnight's Edge in the morning at 9 a.m. LA time and 6 p.m. Central European time.